been a part of motor racing folklore for over a generation. Road racing around these parts was what kicked it off, but then a permanent facility has become absolutely indelibly inked into the CVs of drivers down through the years. Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin is where we are this weekend. The drivers and teams of the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge making the trip to Road America. 14 corners, a tad, a smidgen, a gnat over 4 miles around. Action areas at turn 1, big braking area there. Downhill into turn 5, the left-hander. Also the left-hander downhill into turn 8, and the famous Canada corner, the right-hander, after that insanely quick run through the concrete canyon that is so spectacular. And now you can get even closer too with the new spectator access down to driver's right. I'm John Hindhaugh. Jeremy Shaw is alongside me. Take a deep breath, Jeremy. I think we're going to need all of it here. Never fails to excite.
Yeah, it really doesn't, and this is going to be a really interesting race, as they always are in this series. We've got battles. We will see battles all the way down through the field, and I would expect quite a bit of shuffling to go on in the first couple of laps. What's interesting to me is we believe the number 12 car is going to be started by Trent Hindman. That's not the normal strategy. Normally, it's the if they have a Pro-Am driver, you don't have to have Pro-Am liners in Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge, by the way. A lot of the teams do, and certainly number 12 car is one of them. Cameron Castles has very little experience. Generally, it would be Castles who starts that number 12 car, and then Trent Hindman doing the finishing duties. But apparently they're looking to switch it up a little bit, and we were told that Trent Hindman is going to start that number 12 car. He is fast, already won 3 races this season. It'll be interesting to see what sort of progress he can make, John, in the first few laps.
Cars already on their formation lap. And the heart rates of the drivers, well, they'll try to keep them under control. It's going to be a tough old job. It's a little cooler than it has been for the early part of the week, and everybody up and down pit lane, whether they're in fire suits in the car or in the pit lane, will be thankful for that. Very, very important part of the race right at the very beginning. The 15 car, Scott Maxwell, will absolutely want to hold on to his position through turn 1, and conversely, Danny Baguette will want to try and force his way into the lead and try and hold off that Mustang, and then hopefully for him, build himself a little bit of a lead. It is going to be one of those classic battles again. It's the big cubic inches against the nimble, smaller, lighter car. This is what saloon car racing, sedan racing, GT racing has been about for 50 years, and Porsche's been involved in it about all that time. And in fact, so Ford are not that far behind. We could almost just squint, put this into black and white, and be back in the mid-1960s.
Yeah, the car's a little bit different, perhaps, but you're right, the concept is exactly the same, and it really is a great recipe for some fantastic racing. And, the start's going to be always interesting. The Shelbys, like we talked about a little while ago, they're much heavier than the other cars in this field, so they've got to make sure they don't overwork their tyres earlier on. They'll be happy that it isn't full sun and as hot as it was yesterday coming into this race.
The weather radar that we can see on our screen is clear. There's absolutely not a spot on it. So for the next 2.5 hours, Mother Nature will not be playing a part, at least not detrimentally, to what we're seeing. A couple of showers up to the south of Green Bay, but nothing in the area of Road America, which is where we are this afternoon. The GS field pulling themselves together. There'll be a little gap, maybe 2 or 3 cars lengths, maybe a little more between them and the ST field, but it's not going to be a huge one. Scott Maxwell on the right-hand side of the drag up the hill. Danny Baguette in the dark grey number 33. Porsche on the right-hand side will have to try and go the long way around into turn 1. Watch out for Paul Holton in the 76, the second of the Shelby 350 RCs. That car could play a part in the first corner. Till Beckelsheimer in the Black Hawks Charity livery car in 4th position, and we've gone green, and the pole sitter jumped very, very early indeed, and that's going to put pressure on the Porsche Cayman in second from the 76 car. There's a touch as Holt turns in, and just as I expected, the two Ford Shelbys have tried to lock out the Porsches early on. Meantime, the ST field goes through with the BMW solidifying that pole position as well, and it is the Multimatic cars, the Multimatic built cars, in the hands of the Multimatic team and the 360, the Compass 360 racing team, who are first and second. And the two Caymans have swapped around as Till Beckelstheimer in the white car with the new livery for this weekend is in third place ahead of Darth Cayman, the dark grey one capital car. Meantime in ST, nice clean start, Mini and Honda side by side as they come down to the turn 5 braking area for the first time. It's the 73 and 92 cars, and that would be Derek Jones and Steve Ike who are battling away for 5th and 6th in ST. Nice clean start, Jeremy. Competitive but clean, love it.
And a brilliant start there in ST for Tyler Cook there to move BMW into the lead. They're ahead of the pole sitter Andy Lee. That car's been fast often times this season. The car's been on pole 3 times prior to this weekend. This time not on the pole. Maybe this time they can transfer it into a erased victory, because that is the only thing that was lacking from the CV of that Bimmel World Racing team this season. A lot of success in the past, but just haven't won a race this year, so they'll be looking to set that record straight this afternoon. Really, as you say, nice clean start. Sarah Catania moving into third place in that purple People Eater, number 44 CRG Idu Borin Nissan Altima.
Yeah, behind Sarah, Chad McCumbee for the first of the Mazdas. 6 different manufacturers in the top 6 in qualifying, and it is BMW, Porsche, Nissan, Mazda, Honda before 2 Minis in 6th and 7th position in the ST category. Scott Maxwell trying to make his bid for freedom. He's pushing very hard indeed in the number 15, the white with 2 green Canadian racing stripes over the centre of the Shelby as it climbs the hill to complete the first racing lap. The clock has started, 2 hours and 27.5 minutes to go. Settle in, enjoy this one as we will. And the gap between the leader and the first of the Porsches is over a second, 1.2 seconds, and already there's a challenge behind the Porsches, and it's Trent Hinman who's come through into 4th position ahead of Danny Burkett.
Yeah, poor start then by Danny Burkett. He started on the outside of the front row, falling back to 5th position on the first lap, so he's certainly got some work to do there. 4 very fast cars ahead of him. There's a good train of cars here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, heading down the back straight, edging out just a little bit over the rest of the field, but it's tight there, and very close in the ST battle as well. Sarah Catania looks like she was challenging for second on the run towards turn 1.
And the 52 Mini is in the pit lane very early indeed. Ramin Abdullah who's come in, and they've already got the rear deck open, Shane.
Some issue with the fueling. There's actually a bit of fuel overflow pouring out the back of the car. They are trying to untangle a data cable to plug it into the Mini, but they just wanted to top it off with fuel, and they got a lot coming out the back. They've now refired the car, as I'm sure you can hear. They're stretching this data cable all the way across, though, and trying to figure out what exactly it is. The 18 also made its way down the pit lane and did not take the green flag, John.
Okay. Thank you, Shea.
Yeah, that's a great shame for Josh Balicki, local driver here. High expectations coming to this weekend as we see Trent Hinman moving around from one side to the other, trying to find a way past Paul Holton there. That is a battle for 2nd and 3rd place. Also a great move on that first lap by Chad Gilsinger in the number 93 Honda. Started right at the back of the pack, already up to 13th in ST, John.
So Ramin Abdul Harvey with trouble early on in that Mini as round the outside at Canada corner, an outstanding manoeuvre from the... Oh, and off has gone Holden, and Holden's car's on its side. And there's another car in there as well. That must be one of the CJ Wilson cars. This is going to be a full course yellow. Well, the hazard flashes are on. It's the 35 car that's gone around, and behind them there's carnage as well, as the 34 Mazda has gone around before Canada corner. Well, that was Trent Hinman going round the outside. He got it done forced the Paul Holton Mustang down the inside. I don't think there was a touch between those two, but Paul got on the power a little bit. Oh, there was just a tiny touch. And Paul spearing off to the right and then picking up the second of the C.G. Wilson racing cars and putting them both over, one onto the side, one onto the roof. Hazard flashes coming on straight away on the Cayman. Safety team's already there. Full course caution, I should not even have to mention, is already out. I dare say that the Mustang might go back down onto its wheels. They'll have to check the driver before they do that, of course. There's quite a ding in the door there. Fairly innocuous looking touch between Hinman and the Paul Holton car. Paul climbing out, Dukes of Hazzard style, top of the car. He looks to be fine, but Holton's car just spearing across as he had to pinch the exit of the corner. His hands are up, he's saying he's fine. They're talking to Till Bechtelsheimer in the C.J. Wilson car.
Yeah, and he was just
he's out.
Yeah,
Till's out. I can see the white helmet.
That's cool. That's good to see. And that was a really unfortunate incident, as you say. Trent Hinman kind of made that. He'd made that move around the outside, but he was certainly running wide on the curbs on the exit corner there. But he had to come back onto the racetrack at that point. He certainly lurched back, with some urgency there. But Paul Holton, unfortunately, was already occupying that bit of racetrack. I'm not quite sure what Paul was really thinking, because Trent Hinman, you can't just keep him on the grass. You're already coming out of the corner there. It wasn't as if they were still turning, and there was contact between those two, and Paul Holton just speared off to the inside until Bechtelsheimer, his car was already there. So that was a really unfortunate incident.
The number 18 has got out of the pit lane. That's the Porsche Cayman, the RS1 Cayman, the Josh Bilicki car. It was such a minor touch, and unless it broke the steering on the Mustang, and I don't think it was wheel to wheel, to be honest, Jeremy, there was the, oh, well, maybe it was. Yeah. Maybe it was, but it just kicked the car to the right-hand side. And I think that's as much as it's Paul pinching the corner and trying to, just try to use the power of the Mustang to drive up the inside to the next left-hander. A completely separate incident, by the way, with the Mazda further back up the track. A little side-to-side contact, maybe, or just trying to run too hard through the kink for the 34 ST category car. That's the Alara racing car that was started by Drake Kemper.
Yeah, and
he's got it back, by the way. He's got
but damage to that car. The rear end is completely out of whack there, so he's limping it back into the pit lane. That's a great shame, because that car's been fast. Drake Kemper was so much looking forward to making his debut in the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge this weekend, and Christian Shimjak, their car finished on the podium last time out.
Carl Thompson is the head of C360R Racing. Your car is the 76 that's currently up on the side. First off, Paul's okay, right?
Yeah, Paul's out of the car. I think there was a little bit of a hard hit going in, so he was quiet initially, but he said he's okay. He's out of the car. I kind of want the safety workers to push it back over again. Maybe we can get it back here. So if you're listening, guys, push it over.
We are on PA, so keep telling people that. Paul, if you're listening, and get back in the car when they push it over and drive it back to the pit lane. Didn't look like there would be too much damage beyond the initial hit.
It's tough to say. I mean, it did pretty good. He went nose first into the wall, so it could be bad, but we know the Mustang's a really stout car. Got a really strong front end, so we won't know till we get it back here. Our goal is to get it back out.
The expression is built Ford tough, so you never know.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Good luck, Carl.
Very good, Shane. Yeah. Both drivers, let me repeat, both drivers, Till Bechtelsheimer, whose car was upside down, parked perfectly, but upside down. Hazard flashes on as well. That's very thoughtful of Till. He exited the car, I think, under his own steam. Certainly was walking without any assistance. And the same for Paul Holton, who came out of the top side of the Mustang that is on its driver's side. I think, no, check that. It's, yes, it's on the driver's side, on the left-hand side, facing in the wrong direction. So Paul had to go across the centre of the car to exit, and he did that himself. Safety workers on the scene very, very quickly indeed. Now, Scott Maxwell, this is mixed blessing for him. He's lost his tail gunner in the shape of the 76 car, but he's been able to cool his tyres. But Trent Hinman is now right on the rear spoiler of the Multimatic Ford Performance Shelby 350 RC. Danny Burkett, slightly tardy start from Burkett, which is very unusual for Danny, the Manitoba missile. He's normally crash hot off the start of the race, so that makes me wonder if there's some tactics being played out very early on here about how far these guys can go into the race. Now, the yellow will help fuel consumption. You're at full throttle an awful lot of the time here, Jeremy, and we were talking to Stefan Wilson yesterday, who sadly won't be in the Lamborghini race, but he was saying it was tight but doable for 50 minutes for the Lamborghinis. And just a very tiniest of touches on those two cars from Trent and Paul, but it was right on the left-hand front wheel, directly on the left-hand front wheel, and that happened. And you can only think that's right-hand side. There was no touch in the centre of the corner for sure. It was just as Trent was coming back onto the circuit to avoid running over one of those depressions after the end of the curb. There's no blame attached to either driver there for me, Jeremy.
No, I completely agree with you, John. I think it was just sort of kind of one of those things, and really, really unfortunate, and even worse, of course, it involved somebody else as well. So two cars there have hit the barriers pretty hard. And as you say, the initial contact between number 12 and 76 cars was minimal, but at those speeds, the cars are unsettled there. It's accelerating out of the corner, and even the slightest taps is going to change the trajectory of the car. And at that point in the racetrack, there's not much, well, there's basically no runoff at all on the inside of the circuit.
The ST debut for Drake Kemper, unfortunately not going as planned. He's got a broken left rear suspension, but looking at the right front of the car as well, there's a lot of love marks on it, and the right front tire, although it's still on, the Continental is almost touching the ground, even though they have it up on the jack stands. That's not the way it's supposed to be either, so I think the Alara Racing guys might want to take a look at this. Not the way that the 34 wanted their race to go.
You could say that again. Well, you don't have to, actually, because we heard you the first time. No. I'm afraid that you can tell the guys at 360 that car's not going to drive back, even if the driver is in it. There's a little more damage to the front end than we thought. Carl Thompson was hopeful. Still waiting to see how they're going to lift and spin the CJ Wilson Porsche Cayman, which is in special livery this weekend. Tie up with the partnership with the Chicago Blackhawks ice hockey team and their excellent charity programs, helping young people with difficulties, with health difficulties. Still haven't worked out how that Mazda ended up on the side of the circuit.
No, it just looked like he ran
out the road.
The kink, didn't it?
Yeah.
Some contact there with the right rear corner against the barriers there on the left-hand side of the racetrack.
Did the brake of the suspension send him off? Because I did not see any contact with anyone. I wonder if the left rear suspension let go there when it was loaded up, Jeremy, because the car went that way around as it was going. It's pure speculation,
be, yeah.
but we've had the opportunity to look at a couple of onboards now from further back down the field, and there definitely didn't seem to be any side-to-side contact that might have pushed him that far. There's a little bit of tyre marks and a slightly reformed rear end on the Mazda MX-5. That's not how it came out of the factory. It's a very, very odd one indeed. Just after the kink, coming down that short straight where past the kink, and then there's a right-left effectively. It's just a blend right and then into the left-handed part.
Yeah, and it was directly ahead of car number 93, which had come charging through from last on the grid. So just outside the top 10 in the class there in ST. That's where Drake Kemper was running before that incident took place. And the other Honda also made a great start. Steve Ike in car number 92. He started in the 6th position in the class, now up to 3rd place behind Tyler Cook, who leads the way in the number 84 Bimmelworld Racing BMW. second place Sarah Catania in number 44 Nissan, and then the first of the Hondas.
34 right in behind them, and yes, the suspension just goes as he's going over the rumble strip, over the curb. It kicks the car left first and then right. Just saw the suspension tuck in, the left rear wheel took in. Excellent piece of replay work from the guys in the truck there. Thank you very much indeed. Just enough to put the car slightly sideways and then spin it round, but to me it looked like that left rear had just towed in enough to put a bit of steering into that car. Meantime, Paul Holton's 76 Shelby comes back looking slightly less than pristine.
Yeah, somewhat less than pristine. Quite a lot of damage to the front and to the right side as well. So that pristine, it's a great looking race car. That
it's going to need a new wrap, I think,
so.
For the Children's Chamber Foundation. And actually, considering the left-hand side was on the ground and he had to jump out the right, that's not as bad as I thought it would be. The Blackhawks Charity 35 car now back on its wheels, and the recovery work has been done with great care for that 35 car. And actually, there's barely a dent in the roof of that car. That looked in pretty decent shape. The aerial's gone.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
But the
wishful thinking.
GPS is still on there. He's sort of just gently rocking backwards and forwards on the bow of the roof of the Cayman, wasn't it, as it was sitting there.
Real shame, because we've gone all green through the race at Lime Rock Park just a couple of weeks ago. Really, really exciting race. That was all the way through. Race. No yellow flags whatsoever, and here we are just on lap 2. The had this big crash at the end, just on the exit of Canada corner. 2 cars out of the race, and a couple of others with some difficulties as well, not as a result of that.
Just a reminder for those of you perhaps who are new to Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge, the ST cars can normally do a race on a single pit stop, and this full course yellow would certainly help that. It'll be a question of driver time and the tactical advantage of getting the car in and out of the pit lane. Yeah, there are 1 or 2 more dents on the front of on the top of Till Bexelsheimer's car than I thought. The GS cars can't go on a single stop, and therefore strategy really does play into it. We've got 2 hours 12 and a half minutes still to run, so it's always at least 1/2 stops and a splash. And
well, yeah, except the Aston Martins always shows
they've been brilliant on fuel.
Yeah, they have, and it's not inconceivable they might be able to.
Well, they nearly pulled it off at Lime Rock,
stretch it. Yeah, they weren't that far short, and we've had at least probably over 10 minutes of yellow in this race so far, and we're not going to be going green for another couple of laps at least, I would think.
What'll be interesting to see is if the Aston Martin guys, the 99, the 09, Charlie Putman and Andrew Hobbs, if they split their strategy. They run those 2 cars as a team, but effectively they do have their own aims and objectives, of course. But I wonder, as this safety car period will be coming to an end, not immediately, but there's a little bit of now the cars that have been recovered. It'll be just the tyres that need tyres at the side of the track that need looking at. Front left wheel has become detached from from Till Bexelsheimer's car. Excuse me. Oh, and the right front. There's a part of me that if I was the 99 or 09, I might bring the car in just before the end of the full course yellow and brim fill the car to really extend my fuel window. Adam, what about the ST guys?
Hearing that a couple of them might come in when the pits do open up. You were just asking about the Aston Martin strategy, though, so who better to ask than Al Carter? Al, I know you just get in and drive these things, but you've got a long fuel window to begin with. How much is this caution helping the 99 and the 09?
Yeah, well, the wheels are turning, as they say. We'll see what we can do, but we're crunching the numbers now. But we like given some of the performance of some of the other cars, we definitely like to always kind of go with the Plan B strategy that if the chips fall that way, that we'll have a good shot. So we haven't figured out what we'll do, but there's a good chance we might get some splashing in there.
You were talking yesterday about getting Andrew more time in the car because he knows the track very well. Did he feel comfortable coming to the start today like he had enough time?
Yeah, well, he had a great qualifying session yesterday where he kind of put everything together that he'd been working on for the last 2 days and put in some impressive times and some impressive gaining of time. So he's out there. He's running the lap times right now.
10 minutes before they're going to restart the session we're here and before we will go back to green flag. Any chance you guys come in for a splash, or are you just going to gun it?
You know, I'm not the smart guy on this box, but if I had a vote, I think that we're going to be splashing. So Andrew's going to get a little bit of time in the car today.
We're going to keep an eye on you guys. Thanks, Al.
All right, take care.
Shea Adam down in the pit lane. Thank you, Shea.
So some tweaking to the tyre barriers needed as a result of 2 cars colliding with it on the exit of Canada Corner on the right-hand side of the racetrack. And you know, Andrew Hobbs did a nice job in qualifying, as Al Carter was saying there, picking up speed, and the next lap would have been even quicker because he was improving on each sector on his way around towards the pit. So it's showing good pace. Good to see Andrew driving one of these cars. This is his debut in the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge. Grandson of David Hobbs and son of Gregory Hobbs, who runs David Hobbs Honda down there in Milwaukee, one of the biggest Honda dealers certainly in the area, if not the nation. And you know, lot of racing heritage in that family, and a huge amount of enthusiasm as well. And I know there'll be a lot of support here for Andrew this weekend.
Oh, bound to be. Bound to be. What, 90 minutes less than that probably up from the dealership. So clean up and clear up, virtually done. This has been another splendid piece of work from the clear up crews. If you're going to splash now. The pits have not been opened yet, so they can't do that. Well, that's interesting. I wonder if they're not going to open the pits before we go back green.
Yeah, they will tend not then to open the pits. If we haven't been green for 15 minutes, then they tend not to open the pits. So if you do come in, you're not going to be able to cycle back to take up your position. Generally speaking, when under normal caution period rules, everybody will pack up behind the safety car. The pits will be opened, and then the GS cars can come in on the first lap. Then they go back out. Second lap around, but the ST guys turn to come on the pit lane before we go back to green. And in the GS cars, the kind of back in the pack behind any ST cars can cycle forward so they're just behind their class cars. So that is where that could pay off. But if the pits aren't opened, then that facility will not be open to them.
I'd forgotten about the 15-minute rule. Thank you for reminding me about that. I still think it's worth at the end, as we go back green, you could come back, you could come into the pits, because it's a 4-mile track. You're not going to lose a lap, and then you're going to have a huge amount of clear space ahead of you if you're a Aston Martin at the back of the GS field, to be able to make up some time before you hit the back of the ST field.
You've still lost that track position though. You've lost
true.
About a half a lap, and you're not going to lose a lap probably by doing that, certainly. But nor unless there is another full course caution, you're not going to make up that time either.
Scott Maxwell looking at the back of the Corvette safety car going through, turning at the bottom of the Hurry Downs area and into the mighty carousel. And it looks as though the lights are out on the safety car. So Scott's just going to warm everything back up. That flat plane crank V8, which has that very distinctive sound coming from the engine. Drops back and then speeds up to the back of the Corvette, weaving left and right by all of the leading GS cars, and now settling in. Trent Hindman absolutely in the wheel tracks of Scott Maxwell.
That view we were just looking at there was from the kink looking back towards the carousel, and the little Porsche Cayman. It was completely eclipsed, wasn't it, for a second or two?
It's behind there, I promise you.
Yes, it's indeed.
It's that philosophical argument. If you can't see the Porsche Cayman, is it actually still there?
you know, there's no doubt Scott Maxwell can see it, and it's going to be looming large in his mirrors as they come across here to take this restart, which we're expecting in just a few seconds.
I'm very interested to see what Danny Paquette does in the 33 One Capitals CJ Wilson car, because he was a little tardy at the start of the race at the original green flag from the outside of the front row. Trent Hinman, if he's any closer, he's actually parking the spoiler of his Porsche in the boot, in the trunk of the GS leader and leader overall. Through the final corner, the right foot is planted by all three of the leading drivers. The pace car the safety car is in the pit lane, and the Mustang has not pulled away that much. Trent Hinman's got a little bit of a hole in the air to work with across the line, maybe 2 cars lengths between the leaders as Maxwell restarts up in back green with just on 2 hours and 5 minutes to go down into the first corner. And the 21 coming through as well, Peter Ludwig, just having to defend on the inside there from the 99 of Charlie Putman down into the first corner. And again, he's gone defensive very early down the hill, drops onto the racing line at turn 3. But Charlie Putman, again, having a good run in the 99 Aston Martin. He's taken to that Aston very nicely indeed.
Yeah, he really has, hasn't he? I think they were 4 wide in the mid-pack there at ST headed towards turn 1. They can't see the yellow flag, so they must have made it through, which is good news. As you say there, the Aston Martin there of Charlie Putman is really charging on. He's taken the position away now from Peter Ludwig. Looking down to the inside again at turn 5, side by side through the apex of the corner. That doesn't generally tend to work.
He's got through. He's gone down the outside.
No, he was ahead already.
He was already, right.
Yeah, Ludwig was trying to regain the position, unable to do so. Good straight line speed there from the Aston Martin. That's resulted particularly also of a good exit to turn 3.
Big slide now from Charlie Putman through 7. Crests the rise and starts the downhill run through the hurry downs onto the new tarmac area at turn number 8. That sets you up. You have to come into the carousel, pick a line. There's several schools of thought here, and big, thick, black lines of Continental rubber being laid as the guys head through there. 2 schools of thought: go in late and then sort of late apex the second part of the corner. So it is a 2-pressure corner. Or go in and then breathe in the middle and come back again. ST battles through the carousel.
Still side by side there, a Mini and a Mazda as well. That's Danny Bender and one of the Minis. I guess that is Mark Pombo, brother of Matt, in the number 37 car. Matt will be showing number 73 car with Derek Jones. But in second place now in ST isn't number 92 car of Steve Ike. He's moved up ahead of Sarah Catania.
Chad Gilsinger's rise and rise continues. Started at the back, remember. Now up to 8th position in class.
Charging.
Yes.
Side by side here on the front straight.
For the lead as they go across the line and down into turn 1. Trent Hinman was just 0.040 behind, and Danny Paquette has put a fastest lap of the race in to join these two and make it a trio down the inside. Hinman late on the brakes, super late on the brakes into turn 1. Stands up the Multimatic Ford in the middle of the corner to stop him getting the run down the hill, and here's Paquette coming to driver's left, trying to get the run down into turn 3. Brilliant move by Hinman, and Paquette trying to take advantage as well. He's got a much better run out of turn number 3. Meantime, the lead is under threat in ST as well, as Tyler Cook, as Steve Ike and Sarah Catania are battling behind him. Sarah's got Andy Lee, the pole sitter in the Porsche. This is the very, very black and relatively sponsor-less number 22 sitting in 4th position. At turn 5, a big sideways moment for the 3rd place 33 car. And that was expertly caught by Danny Paquette there. The car getting very squirrely as he tried to be the last of the late breakers and take some time out of the lead as he's dropped 2, 3, 4 cars lengths now behind Hindman and Maxwell, who are still just 0.097 of a second between them as they head down towards the carousel. But Paquette now has lost a bit of ground. He'll take a breath, cool off those Continental tyres. Body motion, Porsche Cayman leads from Multimatic Shelby Ford 350 RC. From the Porsche GT4 Cayman Club Sport of CJ Wilson Racing. Then a gap back to Charlie Putman, establishing himself in 4th position in the Aston Martin number 99. Then Peter Ludwig, Andrew Hobbs is in there as well. Those two separated by less than a second, the 21 Porsche and the 09 Aston. Well, as usual, Jeremy, little bit of a cessation of hostilities whilst we cleared up the mess from the end of the second lap, but now it's all action again at the head of the field, and Trent Hinman, having got the lead, has put in the fastest second sector. It really was a battle of the late breakers down into turn number 1.
Yeah, didn't seem to be anything to choose between those two on straight line speed, but Trent Hinman had the inside line, braked later. That's exactly what we heard Scott Maxwell talking about before the start of this race, and makes the move into turn 1. Great move by Trent Hinman, heads up driving by Scott Maxwell. Danny Burkett hanging there in third place. We've seen this time and time again, it seems, this is Danny Burkett out of the box here at the beginning of the race, super fast. He'd already set the fastest lap in a couple of races this season.
Now, that's one of the RS1 cars. That's Nick Galante has gone around, and everyone's had to go around. Danny Bender off the circuit, the 27 of the 27 Mazda, and that is coming through the left-hander just after Canada Corner. The Billy Mitchell Bridge used to be. That would have been a nasty one back in the day. By the way, Chad Gilsinger now up into 6th position and through into a new second position goes Steve Ike ahead of Sarah Cattaneo. So Tyler Cook from Steve Ike from Cattaneo in 3rd, Derek Jones in the Mini, the 73, bright red. John Cooper Works car in 4th position in ST. Andy Lee, the pole sitter in the all black Porsche in 5th, but he's got pressure now from the charging Chad Gilsinger, who's dragging the Mazda number 25 of Chad McCumbee with him. And the 22 having to go defensively, the Porsche of Andy Lee, and he's already lost that position. He has not got the pace in a straight line. My goodness me, that Honda is super slippery and super fast in a straight line. And at the battle for the lead, Tyler Cook is finding that out as well in the BMW, the 84 car, Jeremy, because he's now got the teammate to Gilsinger, whose boot lid is flapping around. That's not fastened down properly. So the Honda now pressuring the BMW for the lead, and the second Honda pressuring the Mini for 3rd.
So that's right, there's your point. BMW, Honda, Nissan Mini, Honda, Mazda, and then Porsche. That's the top 6 in ST. Don't tell me they haven't got the balance of performance right between these cars, because this is a tremendous battle at the head of the field. There is coming around the carousel, the orange coming of 56, that's Jeff Mosey. He had that shunt at the exit of the kink on Friday morning. They repaired that car, and he is running now nicely in the 8th position, just biding his time in the earlier stages. He knows his teammate Eric Foss is a little bit quicker, and that car is very much in contention now.
Continued problems for the RS1 Porsche number 18. The Josh Bilicki car has gone behind the wall now. That from Continental Tire pit lane reporter Shea Adam. Meantime, better news for the 34 Alara Racing Mazda. The Drake Kemper Christian Simchak car. Drake's car dropped back down onto its wheels after that strange suspension failure that pitched him into a lurid spin, and actually very lucky not to have more damage in a much bigger accident at one of the fastest corners in American road racing. The ST battle, 6 cars pretty much together now through turn 1 with Tyler Cook, Steve Ike, Sarah Catania. Little gap back to Derek Jones, who's fighting off Chad Gilsinger and Chad McCumbee, trying to hold on in the blue and white Mazda at the back of that train. Let's go down to the Alara Racing pit and find out what the problem was with the 34.
Christian, that was a very odd incident for you guys, for Drake in the car, suspension failure. What happened to cause that?
Well, I think the bumps and the curb strikes at this track are particularly harsh on the car, and a weekend of doing that gradually wears out the parts, and they fail after time. I think that's maybe what happened. We're not quite sure, but it looks like that's probably the case, so it's unfortunate. Great job by the Alara crew to get the car back out. Good luck. Yeah, those guys are awesome. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Great voice of Christian Simchak there. I think confirming what we had worked out from the fabulous replays that we saw. Change for the lead in ST whilst that interview was going on, but not absolutely cleanly, and it looks like 3rd place is going to go to a Honda as well. So Honda's now 1st and 3rd with the BMW back into 2nd place. But was there just a little touch between the 92 Honda and the 84 as he went through in the lead?
There was. He ducked out under braking, coming down in the braking area for turn 5 there. He just cut a little bit fine there, tore off a little bit of bodywork, I think on the back end of the BMW, which goes flying off happily to the inside and off the racing surface.
Yeah.
But Steve Ike there for move into the lead, and Chad Gilsinger also making a move into 3rd place. Meanwhile, Trent Hinman is absolutely flying at the front of the field. Consecutive fastest laps he did on lap 9 and 10. He's now extended that lead to 3 seconds.
It's a problem for the Mini. How has he managed to get that round Canada corner and not hit anybody? It was either missed braking point or a problem with the braking for the 73 of Derek Jones, and yet completely out of control and over the grass on the inside. He somehow managed to stay out of everybody else's way, and everyone managed not to hit him. Honda's now 1st and 2nd as Gilsinger goes through, drags around the outside of the final corner. It's a drag race up the hill now, but the 2 Hondas align astern and will get the aerodynamic advantage. And down to 3rd place for the BMW number 84 now. Tyler Cook needs to drop in behind those 2 Hondas. Sarah Cattaneo battling with the 25 Mazda for 4th and 5th position, and the Nissan comes out ahead, and Gilsinger goes straight for the lead, and he's gone through in turn 1 from the back to the front, right at the back of the 37 car grid to the lead of ST, and that is 8th position overall. And we've only had, well, take off the yellow flag, we've hardly had any racing, and a problem for the 92, having been passed, has lost 2nd, has lost 3rd, has lost 4th position as well, as it drops down through the field to Steve Ike. Now, has he got a problem? I think he has. He's pulled out of the way. He's lost another position. He's gone behind the 22 Porsche now as Andy Lee, the pole sitter, goes through. Oh, this is such mixed fortunes for the HART guys. I think he's got a puncture. I think he's got a puncture. The car is moving around. Is it a left front puncture on that 92 car? So triumph and tragedy in 2 corners for HART.
Yeah, not sure what happened there. The car certainly clearly something wrong with it. And Steve Ike doing a really good job here to stay out of the way as much as he possibly can. Coming down, hurry down here towards turn 8. The tyres all seem to be inflated.
Yeah, but there's something not right with how it's going. Then in that case, it's a serious suspension issue.
Yeah, or a drivetrain problem. I would suggest perhaps of some point there. On for 2nd place now overall, with Scott Maxwell coming in, increasing pressure now from Danny Burkett as Trent Hinman makes his escape at the front of the field, pulls out a 2nd lap at the front.
Yeah, and the 92 car touring in happened just after the pass for the lead, maybe contributed to it because Gilsinger did seem to go through very easily into turn 1. Battle for 2nd position then, Scott Maxwell and Danny Burkett. And Danny will not be happy that he will be being told, I'm sure, from his team on the wall that Trent Hinman has put 5 seconds on these 2. He knows it's doable at turn 1 because he's seen Hinman do it. So he's got to get himself in position to be able to get the draft, get up the inside, brake a tad later, and then go down the inside, the right-hand side of the circuit into turn 1. Now, of course, Scott Maxwell knows that it's doable there as well, so he'll be doing absolutely everything, and he has a huge amount of experience to make sure that Danny Burkett can't put the 1 capital Porsche Cayman where he wants it to be. Danny dodging left and right down to turn 8 at the bottom of Hurry Downs, trying to find some way to get the nose of the dark grey Porsche Cayman inside the rear 3/4 panels of the white and green Canadian Racing striped Shelby. 92 HART Honda is in the pit lane. Shea Adam, it looks like it's got air in all of the Continental Tires. Suspension, maybe?
Well, all 4 tires do have air, John, that is true, but maybe not enough air to make it all the way through. I'm seeing a bit of the nose piece has actually been knocked out, part of the ducting. They have opened the boot. They're going to refuel it while they've got time. And something we very rarely see from this team, they are changing the front tires. They have pulled off the left front, and the brake is smoking a little bit. There is a bit of suspension damage. One of the A-arms is not attached where it should be. Mechanics already hopping over the wall, though. They're going to get to work on this as quick as possible. I'll keep you posted.
Danny Bender has been off and rejoined, but down at the bottom of the hill at turn 3, the 34 Mazda now visits the gravel trap, and this was just a solo mistake by Drake Kemp. Remember, this is the car that's had the rear suspension just sorted, and it looks to me as though that may have gone again, or certainly it locked up at the back end on that very pretty red, white and blue Mazda. And this is, I'm afraid, is going to be our second full course caution with an hour and 50 minutes to go, Jeremy.
Yeah, it's exactly what Trent Hinman didn't want at the front of the field. I would suggest now that he might come into pit lane and hand the car over to Cameron Castles, who'll probably do the middle stint in the race, and then Trent Hinman hop in again in the final stages.
This from IMSA in the, as they tweet correctly, in the great news category. Paul Holton and Till Bechtelsheimer have been evaluated and released from the infield care centre after their scary-looking incident on the second lap of this Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge event here at Road America. We're live trackside for IMSA Radio. The Chevy pickup already at the scene of the incident for the 34 car. This could be a very quick yellow. No damage to the fabric of the circuit here. So if that car can be pulled out and will fire, then it will be a question of just getting it back round to the pit lane. Drake Kemper stayed behind the wheel, by the way, as when they did the rear suspension.
Yeah, I think we'd been, had we been green for 15 minutes, it was fairly close actually. I'm not sure whether we were green for 15 minutes. I think probably just about, in which case we will go through the complete yellow flag procedures, so close the pits, open them and allow drivers to make pit stops.
I think that suspension's broken again, Jeremy.
Sure, he certainly locked it up under braking, didn't he? The car was sideways under braking, and going down the hill there, yeah, that's not kind of unusual. So
by the way, the 92 has gone back out with a new set of tyres on, so whatever the issue was for the Honda number 92, it has continued.
Indeed, we've seen Mazdas all over the place lately, because as we talked about there, number 34 car was in the gravel trap there. That's why the full course caution is out. But also number 27 car again, Danny Bender's at least he's second off in the race so far. He's running in the top 10. He's now well outside the top 10. So down in 16th place. And also of note is Nick Galante in car number 17 for RS1. That's one of the championship contenders, well, championship leader, isn't he, coming into this round. And he had incident a couple of laps ago and he's dropped to the back of the field in ST.
Drake Kemper not doing a drifting challenge on the grass. He's shaking all of the gravel out of his car before he rejoins the tarmac. That is really, really heads-up driving. I'm pretty certain he's probably checking out his suspension as well, but that was actually very courteous driving to his competitors. He's well out of the running. The HRT 93 Honda has dropped down to 30th position for Steve Ike, and I think he's just dropped off the lead lap as well. Yes,
he has actually. No, I think he's
no, you're right. He's about to maintain it. He managed not to. Well, we've seen Chad Gilsinger being able to drag past people with the superior top speed that the Honda seems to have in ST. So maybe this is another comeback. That'd be a press release you wouldn't mind writing, wouldn't it? From back to front, twice with two different cars for the weekend. Yeah, he's on the back of the 64.
Yeah, he'll be able to. He'll be waved around his leading cars and around the safety car to take up his position at the tail end of the cars on the lead lap in ST. Because as you can see here, if you're watching out on track wherever you are, that number 92 car is ahead of all the other ST cars and has not been lapped by the leader, so he will be able to cycle on. Here he goes now.
Yeah, perfect.
And that is why, if you see cars overtaking under yellow flags, that is why, because this enables him to take up his rightful position at the back of the field in ST.
Yes, because he hasn't lost a lap to his grid of cars. Yes, exactly. And he's not to be disadvantaged by the safety car coming out effectively between him and the cars he was racing. And he's through and setting off now in hot pursuit. that tends to suggest to me as well that we will be seeing the pits open very shortly, Jeremy.
Yep.
And Shea Adam is ready to get very, very busy indeed, Shea.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of driver changes down here, John. We've got Mark Miller up on the pit wall getting ready for the 33. Jerome Bleekmolen, whose track record here is kind of ridiculous. I mean, he's got 4 wins in 5 years at this very circuit. He will be getting into the 21, and I can't see the helmet of Billy Johnson getting ready to be in the 15. And if I squint, I believe that's Cameron Castles getting ready to go into the 12. So I'll keep you posted on all the stops when the cars do make their way down the pit lane, but we're still doing the wave around.
Thank you, Shea.
And we are just over 45 minutes into this race, so that's the minimum time that drivers have to complete before handing over to everybody else. So it's kind of a shame for the number 12 team that Cameron Castles wasn't able to come in and do his 45 minutes. He wouldn't have been in the lead now most likely, but neither would have been a lap down either. So I'm sure we will see all of the leaders onto pit lane in GS. Interesting to see whether the Aston Martins come in. They might be able to get to the finish on just 1 pit stop with these cautions. I think everybody else will need 2 pit stops. Certainly, though, the race leader will be onto pit lane momentarily.
This is where the tactics that we spoke about, Jeremy, in the countdown to green, this is where this will play off, and this is also where teamwork plays a massive part. The pits are open, and in comes Trent Hinman, followed in by Scott Maxwell. Now be careful here, because it's supposed to pass the pace car, even if it's on circuit, so you couldn't come full speed up to the pit lane marker line. We've got a little drag race coming on. Danny Piquet gets the best seat in the house as he sees the Ford and the lead Cayman on their pit lane speed limiters. Peter Ludwig stayed out in the GS number 21 Porsche, everyone else in. As they hit their pit stalls, let's go down to Shea Adam.
We have the 12 and the 15 in a bit of a drag race. The 12 pit stop is going to take place closer to pit in by 1 box to the 15. Billy Johnson already running around the side of the Mustang. He is already installing himself. Wow, didn't even take very long for Scott Maxwell to jump out. Cameron Castles doing the driver change with Trent Hinman. Of course, that is backwards from the way they are used to doing it. Tire change on the 12. They are working on the right sides already. Still working on left sides for the 15 Multimatic. They're having a bit of a slower tire change. Fueling is done. Tires still going on for the 15. 33 has Mark Miller installed behind the wheel of Darth Cayman at this point. Their tire change is done. Their fueling is done. That's the sound of Mark Miller coming past me now. 12 is back out. 33 is back out. 15 has lost a position through that. 99 and 09 go back, and the 64 is the only car left on pit lane right now.
Well,
that was very, very good pit work there.
It was very interesting because the Multimatic pit stop was surprisingly not as quick as it normally is, because generally speaking they make up ground over everybody else during the pit stops, but this time CJ Wilson Racing clearly has worked on its pit stops, and that was a problem for the 15 as well at the same time. But certainly it was a great pit stop by CJ Wilson Racing there to get the number 35 car back out onto the track.
I did see the I didn't watch the FS1 coverage of the race at Lime Rock a couple of days ago. Actually, it was on as I was getting up in the early hours, and I did hear Till saying they thought they might have had a fuel fill problem there that cost them a little bit of time over the Mustang. Whatever has been done, whatever practice has been done, has paid off for the guys at CJ Wilson. And there's a big smile on Declan Brennan's face, who's standing in behind us. That was 5 seconds that was made up there from those guys. Slow tyre change on the left-hand side of the 15, Shea. Is that what slowed them down?
That was the big difference for them. The fueling was done well early, but they had just started to change the right-hand side tires. So an uncharacteristic pit stop from the Multimatic guys.
Execute. Make no mistakes. Now that is actually a very significant change as well, Jeremy, because that's exactly what the guys at Multimatic did not want to see. Two Caymans. One Cayman ahead, bad, but in point of fact for the championship, that's not the worst thing that can happen, because it's not the Cayman that they are racing in the championship, although they are sitting handily, having not done the whole season, the leading car as it came into pits with Cameron Castles in behind the wheel, the Body Motion 12 car. But now the 33's got through as well, and Mark Miller and Cameron Castles should be able to pull away from Billy Johnson and have a bit of a battle themselves. Now, Mark Miller's job is to get ahead and win the race and leave that Cayman behind them to drag some points back in the points chase.
Yeah, very much so. And Peter Lundgren staying out there in the number 21 car for Milner Motorsports North America. But you can see, yeah, I was wondering which ST cars are going to come into the pit. And of the leaders, just the one, because they certainly can't get to the end of the race here without another pit stop. But the Bimmerworld team, they are taking the opportunity to come onto pit lane. They will need another pit stop for sure. The other ST, basically everybody in ST is going to have to make one more pit stop before the end of the race from here. What's going to be interesting though, even though the number 84 car is going to be at the back of the pack now at the restart because of the other contenders not coming in, its final pit stop will be a lot shorter because it'll need a lot less fuel than some of the other contenders.
Just hearing from the CJ Wilson team, they have been practicing fuel filling all last week in the race shop, and through slightly changing what they do and the manner that they go about it and practicing, that's where they've found the 5 seconds that they just made up there, as well as the issue that the 15 Mustang have. Sure, you've got ST cars, but not all of them.
Two very notable ones, John. The 84 came in, and it is James Clay who will be driving that car from now on. And also the 17, the RS1 Porsche. It's got a large dent on the left rear of the bumper, but it will now have Spencer Pompelli behind the wheel, and we know what happens with vegan power.
Further back down the pit lane, a very good stop for Rebel Rock Racing, and they're going to get past the Honda at least, and yeah, and the Mini as well. So that's a great stop by the Rebel Rock Racing team, who stopped right in front of us here, Jeremy, and that very pretty blue Cayman has jumped a couple of positions at least there, and just trying to work out who is in which car. It's Cameron Lawrence for sure in the 92. Theo Bean is listed in the 8 Rebel Rock Racing car. The 92 losing fluid from the left rear. Yeah, gushing fluid from the left rear of that car at the moment. It did the same after its pit stop to get fixed, so I think that's just an overflow, but the officials will be watching that very carefully. Did notice that when it went out after changing its tyres before.
The good news is there's no one directly behind it. It's going to get fuel sprayed all over them.
Yes, that's quite correct, and it will evaporate quite quickly. It's much better that it's fuel than oil or coolant. And by half a lap, the overflow has disappeared.
So we've got Honda's now first and last then in ST.
Yes. Hey, they've driven to the front once. Let's do a again. I'm not sure about the tactics here for Peter Ludwig, although they'll lead a lap in the 21 Porsche.
Yeah, and yeah, he's pretty quick. It was definitely good test for it now to see if he can hang on there, because with the reset now, we'll see the GS cars moving ahead of the ST cars for the restart. So he won't have any. He'll have a whole string of cars behind him, led by Cameron Castles in that number 12 car. Then Mark Miller, then Billy Johnson, Charles Espinob, Andrew Hobbs, who remained at the wheel of the 09 car. The other contenders all changed their drivers, but Andrew Hobbs staying at the wheel of 09. Charles Espinob with the team car in front of him. And then Guy Cosmos taking over from Ted Giovannis, car number 74, who's in 7th place in GS.
And do you know the best thing about all this, Jeremy? We've still got 95 minutes to work. So what we've had is the first couple of chapters, the first few rounds, if you like, of a heavyweight fight. People have been sparring, they've been trying to get themselves into position. The safety car lights is off and will pull right-handed into the pit lane. Oh, Peter Ludwig there. Now, did he pass the safety car before the safety car line? That might have shown a little bit of inexperience there. Cameron Castles half a second behind. A great restart from Mark Miller, and Billy Johnson tries to get round the outside and goes round the outside. Now dives to the inside. That's exactly what Mark Miller didn't need, with Billy Johnson ahead of him in turn number 1. So it's once again Porsche from Ford from Porsche. Then it's the 99 car. Well, Multimatic going for another position. Cameron Castles can't live with the straight line speed of the Ford on the far side of the circuit as they brake coming into turn number 5. And it all of a sudden seems as though the 15 Shelby Ford has found a new lease of life pace-wise, because it was not that noticeably quicker earlier on in the race against the Porsches. The Porsches were living with it, and he's just driven past 2 of them there as if they were standing still.
This is Billy Johnson. Plus he's probably on a fresh set of tyres, perhaps, and he's a charger in any case.
Yes.
But the other cars there, the other guys there, I mean, Billy's got a massive amount of experience. Cameron Castles doesn't, of course, in car number 12. This is his first proper season of racing in anything. But Mark Miller, of course, he's got plenty of experience, and he's hanging with.
Ooh, very close to Cameron Castles
there. He can't get past him yet, can Mark Miller, so he'll be frustrated there.
He had to actually not just lift off, but brake on the exit of the carousel there. Now we'll have to get to one side or the other through the kink. He's got the run. Oh, he's got to the right-hand side. That would be great if he can make the run round there. Meantime, at the head of the field, Peter Ludwig braking for the corner at Canada corner, as through goes Mark Miller, and up into 3rd. That will be net 2nd position, of course, once the 21 car makes the pit stop that it has to do.
Yeah, but it's certainly conceivable that number 21 car is only going to make one more pit stop as well
as
everybody else.
Billy Johnson goes around the outside into, not at the corner, into the final corner, and makes that pass look it looked like he's in a different class at the moment. It looks like a GS car going round ST cars. Billy Johnson has got the big Ford fully fired up as they came through turn 13. Gets a good run and a big sideways slide. Oh, and a great save actually by Peter Ludwig, who just got a little bit anxious on the right-hand pedal. Mark Miller's followed through now, so it's Johnson from Miller. Guy Cosmo is in the 64 TGM Porsche and comes up alongside Peter Ludwig. He'll go through into 3rd and does. And has he got it done? Yes, he has. Down into turn 5. So Mark Miller needs to try and keep Billy Johnson in sight. He hasn't got that done yet, you know. Guy Cosmo, I thought he was through into 5. I wrote off Peter Ludwig a little early. Peter, sorry. He's got back in the 3rd position, holds on to it. This is allowing Charles Espenlaub to close him down a little bit in the Aston.
Peter Ludwig, this is his 2nd start of the season in the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge. 2 different cars. He made his seasonal debut last time out at Limerock Park, driving one of the Aston Martins. Now he is here in this Porsche Cayman GT4 Club Sport, and really doing an excellent job here. Enjoyed that little brief time in the lead. He's now going to hang on the best he can. If he can stay ahead of Guy Cosmo, he'll do really, really well.
He's doing really well.
Yes, he is.
I fear his time in 3rd position will be brief, but he's not doing anything wrong because he's battling for position here. This is not a car going a lap down. This is not blue flag saying move over, as Espenlaub is getting involved as well. Very, very late on the brakes by Guy Cosmo down into Canada corner and makes that one stick. But that's all right. I have no problem with Peter Ludwig doing that. He's battling for his position. He's just lost another one, and I think that 21 H&R sponsored car will be in the pit shortly as he comes to the final corner at the end of his 19th lap.
Tyres, of course, are a good bit more worn than they are on the other contenders.
And that was certainly a factor when he lost the lead to Billy Johnson a lap or so ago. Half a second across the line last time around from Billy Johnson and Mark Miller, now 9/10 of a second. Very impressed by Charles Espenlaub, who's beginning to pressure Guy Cosmo, the 99 Aston, and the Porsche number 64, having a cracking battle for third. Long gap after Cameron Castles and Andrew Hobbs before the ST cars come through. Chad Gilsinger and Sarah Cattaneo goes the long way round. Drivers left into turn one. This could get interesting. 93 car moves over a little bit, tried to intimidate the Nissan Altima driver, who was having none of it. Still first and second, within third, the 25 Chad McCumbee driven Mazda. So grey and red of Honda HART. Then the Nissan Altima, the purple and black, and the blue and white of Mazda, and the 25 car in third position. These two front-wheel drive cars, the little front-wheel drive coupes, very slippery and very quick here, Jeremy, and they're having a good scrap.
They certainly are, and through the practice sessions yesterday, the quickest car in a straight line was indeed that Nissan Altima. A touch over 140 miles an hour, had about a 1 mile an hour advantage, not very much of course, over the Hondas, which was second and third quickest in that speed trap. But look at here though, is Chad McCumbee hanging right there in third place in that little Mazda MX-5.
Fourth position, by the way, Jeremy. Jeff Mosing is now behind the wheel of the 50 car, 56 bright orange Mosing Motor Cars Cayman,
yeah,
and he is coming. He is catching these guys up.
Yeah, has not yet, of course, made a pit stop. None of the leaders in ST have made a pit stop yet. Top 9 cars. The best of those that has is, oh yes, Spencer Pumpelly.
Yeah, it's not just about raw speed. You don't have the tactics right as well. For a moment, there's a little bit of a breathing space between Chad Gilsing and the 93 Honda. From the Nissan in second place, the 44 Sarah Cattaneo looking in her mirrors. We'll see them full of Chad McCumbee in the 25 Mod Sports Motorsport Mazda on the ragged edge of adhesion. That little Mazda, you've got to absolutely push your braking to the nth degree in that Mazda to stay with the faster cars ahead, and Gilsinger is doing exactly that. The car snaking around as he hits the middle pedal into all of the stopping areas. Mosing, by the way, has got Andy Lee still behind him in the black number 22 Porsche, and then Mark Pombo in the 37 Mini. Those three together. Oh, and as I say that, there's a spin right in the mid-pack, and the 54 cars involved in it there. Michael Johnson in the yellow BMW. The Porsche Cayman involved is the number 19 car, which is Greg Strelzoff, was in 13th position. Now, he is going to get a way out of it, and he's not. He's got right rear suspension damage. I was going to say it would be irony if the Porsche gets away and the BMW, who was a innocent bystander caught up in the crossfire effectively, does not. Strelzoff is rally crossing across the grass in the RS1 Porsche with a left rear wheel at a jaunty angle and deciding to steer the car. He might get that to the pit lane, but it's not going to be easy. No.
It's not going to go any further either, even if it does.
No, he's got himself away from the scene of the crime, and this will be another full course yellow, I think. Though we're still on the green at the moment. I wonder if they're just waiting to see if Michael Johnson's car refires. There's a bit of damage to the front of the BMW. Certainly the Porsche is doing its best. It's a long lap here, and the battle for the lead in ST is between 3 cars currently in turn 7 into the Hurry Downs area. And for a moment, Sarah Cattaneo had got alongside the 93 of Chad Gilsinger. And the yellows are in the hands of Dennis Paul on the starter stand. So this battle will have to just die down for a moment. Let's go down to Shea Adam for an update from the pit lane.
Jerome Bleekemolen is standing on the wall waiting to get into the number 21, and as soon as he saw the full course yellow in the hand of the flag stand, not yet displayed, he gave a thumbs up, and as soon as they pulled it out, the entire crew was happy. This is going to work out very nicely for the 21.
Yes, and everybody, Jeremy, who didn't stop under the last one can breathe a bit of a sigh of relief as the RS1 Porsche does get in the pit lane. It's the 54 BMW of Michael Johnson that's stranded out on the circuit just beyond Canada Corner. But I don't think this will take a very long time to clear up. Problem is, we haven't had 15 minutes, have we? So this could be a quicker yellow. And the pits might not open. So it might not yet be the saviour for those guys who have not yet stopped.
No, and certainly this certainly works into the favour here of Spencer Papelli in number 17 car. He is running as the first of the cars on the in ST that has not yet made his pit stop. So when everybody else does, he will cycle to the lead in the class because he may need a splash, but not much more than that.
So there's a little touch, I think, on the Porsche that spins from the 92 Honda, then it spins across the grass, from the grass to the track and to the other side of the circuit from right to left. Michael Johnson actually had absolutely nowhere to go. The 19 car just appearing from his right. And in traffic, really hard to avoid that. Mark Miller gets to close right up behind Billy Johnson. He had, in fact, done a couple of laps quicker than the leading Mustang.
Oh yeah, he had. And Guy Cosmo was closing on the two of them, John, actually, right before that caution period came out, because Guy had set the best lap on lap 20, which was the lap before this full course caution lap. And so Guy Cosmo knew he might be to that car, but he was absolutely flying. Wow, that was an impressive bit of sportsmanship there by Scott Maxwell.
Scott Maxwell got out of the car, realised that one of the tyres, Continental Tires in Wales from the 15 Multimatic car, was blocking the exit of the CJ Wilson Motorsport car, and rather than leave it there and do nothing about it, potentially draw a penalty for one, either or both of them, he moved it.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any penalty involved there. The wheel was just on the ground. He wasn't really in the way, but what he did was he moved it out completely out of the way, so there was absolutely no problem for number 12 car leader. But that is real sportsmanship. I've got to love that.
He could see that they were going to finish their pit stop quicker. Yeah, absolutely, I agree. Shea, you can get a closer look now at the 19 RS1 Cayman in the pit lane.
Yeah, they're trying to push it behind a gap in the wall between the BMW and the core pit stops normally. And as you can hear, he has managed to get it in gear, but the wheel keeps kicking out to the right and it keeps stalling the car because it's not pointing in the direction it's supposed to. The tire carcass is still on the rim. It's down entirely and it sometimes flails off, but it's almost acting like a stop. Every now and then, the rim points in the right direction. Like right now, he's managed to actually drive it back. But the team just said, we're going to call this. This is game over for the number 19 car. They've been having a pretty strong season, though, for those two drivers.
Yeah, looked to me as though that was beyond repair in a reasonable amount of time. Driver of the 54 car out of the car and sitting on the side of the circuit, Jeremy.
Yeah, it's Michael Johnson there, because he's every time I talk about Michael, it brings a lump to my throat because he's such an inspirational story. Paralysed from the waist, from the chest down after a motorcycle accident at age 14, and I just love the guy. His resilience is fantastic. He's a heck of a driver too, and it's such a shame he's involved in that accident. If you're wondering why he's not walking away, that's why. He needs help to get into the safety car to bring him back to the pit lane.
He's a heck of a driver, full stop. Not a heck of a driver considering his disadvantage potentially.
I mean, he's done Pro Mazda for the last couple of years in the the Open Wheel Series, the Mazda Road to Indy, and which is the second step on that Mazda Road to Indy. There's Indy Lights at the top of it, then Pro Mazda and USF 2000 below that. He did USF 2000, did Skip Barber before that, won races in Skip Barber. And in Pro Mazda, there were various sessions during the season, not in a race, but he had some top 10 finishes, legitimate top 10 finishes against a reasonable number of cars. Unlike this season, where there were barely 10 cars in that series for some reason, but he was competitive, and there was a series of sessions there. He was in the top 5, John.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable, unbelievable.
Massively positive every time you talk to him.
Brilliant.
Literally hashtag the look on the bright side.
Yeah.
Everything. He needed the bare minimum of assistance to get in that car. Put him near the Cayenne safety car, and he was in it. The guy's just making the gap between the wall where he was sitting in the car a little narrow for him. He's in it. He's fine. The car is on its way back to the pits. So with an hour and 20 minutes to go, do we get the pit stops? Are we going to see the pit lane open? I don't think we are, because the lights are out on the safety car, Jeremy, and we're going to go back green. So Shea, everybody in the pit lane, unless they're going to pit under green, they can stand down.
Well, Jerome Bleekemolen is still standing up on the wall. He's actually wearing a helmet that it has his normal colors, the red, white, orange, white, and blue, but it's got Super Cup written on the back, so I think it's quite a few years old. Of course, Jerome, a 2-time Super Cup champion in his day. The Molnar Motorsports guys, they've done this a couple times so far to Jerome on the day. They've had him standing on the wall, and then they've called him back off. He is standing on the wall this time. I think they are going to bring him in under green.
Well, it is confirmed from race control behind us. This is a short safety car period. The pits will not be open. So Mark Miller then has closed the gap to Billy Johnson. Guy Cosmo's there. I'm not writing Charles Esplanade out of this, because that Aston is very, very quick. We know it's frugal. They are in a great position at the moment. Peter Ludwig in there as well. He hasn't stopped. Cameron Castles has, in the 6th position in the number 12 Body Motion Porsche.
Yeah.
All of those guys are still in it for different reasons. But watch out for that Aston, because they play their tactical cards right here. Maybe get a little bit of luck towards the end of the race. They can go a very long way from here.
Yeah, the car is fast. And Andrew Hobbs hanging in there as well in the 09 Aston Martin too. So this is going to be fun. And the 21 car, we've got 1 hour and 18 minutes to go. I think that's a little bit too long to get to the end of the race from here, unless there's another full course caution. So they might not.
I think if they get down to an hour and 10, I reckon 10 more minutes racing.
Yeah, I would probably keep him. You can run a few laps here, and he's still not going to lose a lap by making that pit stop. And as long as he can be the first guy to make his final pit stop, everybody else is going to have to come into the pit lane in any case. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So that being the case, he will have made his final pit stop, and he can get to the end, irrespective of whether there's a yellow flag or whatever. He's still going to come out in the lead. So
correct.
There's still lots more strategy to be played out here.
Live from trackside at Road America, it is the Continental Tire Road Race Showcase. Saturday afternoon, racing in the sunshine. A large and knowledgeable crowd as another brave soul takes the long zip line down from the top of the hill to the infield midway area. We're about to go back to full speed, full course green racing. And it will be Billy Johnson who leads them around. The safety cars in the pit lane. He's backed them up just a little bit and now goes for it as he hits the incline using the torque of the big Shelby Ford motor, and he's broken the toe. Back to Mark Miller. Guy Cosmo, the one more slightly at the moment. He's right in the wheel tracks of the second place Porsche, so it's the two Caymans battling. Mark Miller didn't feel the need to take a defensive line through turn 1 and gets a lovely run under the Briggs and Stratton sign down towards the kink at 2 and then onto the racing line immediately at turn 3. Charles Esplanade holding on to the leading trio. Billy Johnson with a half-second advantage as he played the restart perfectly in the Multimatic Shelby. In ST, Chad Gilsinger and Sarah Catania also a half a second between them as Guy Cosmo goes wheel to wheel with Mark Miller down into the braking area for 5. He'll go through if he can get it stopped. He can, and he closes on Billy Johnson. Now, This is not the worst thing for CJ Wilson and for their championship hopes. They've taken a couple of points. They've lost a couple of points there as Guy Cosmo's gone through. But if Guy Cosmo can start putting some pressure on the leader, Billy Johnson, that allows Mark Miller to lay back from them, maybe save a little bit of tyre life, a little bit of fuel, and make his move later on. He can't afford them to get 5, 6, 10 seconds up the road, Jeremy.
No.
But at this point, this is not the worst thing that could be happening, particularly for the championship battle.
Yeah, but certainly it's been what a great return to the series has been by Guy Cosmo in this TGM Motorsport entry, because his last win in the Continental Tire SportsCar Championship was at Iowa Speedway back in 2007, almost 10 seasons ago, and it's been absolutely magnificent in this car this afternoon.
What was it he said to Shea on the countdown to green on the grid? Yeah, I'm just playing myself in, getting used to the team, the car. I don't know the people who I'm racing with. Yeah, right.
Yeah, but I tell you what, these sort of cautions have been good for him, because he's been able to learn each time that he's got in the car now, and now he's comfortable. You know, he's a proper racing driver. He's been around the sport a long, long time, driven all sorts of different cars. Might not have driven this Porsche Cayman GT4 Club Sport before, but he's comfortable in it now, and he's ready to rock and roll, and he's ready to go for the win.
The body language of the car as the leaders move across to the right-hand side, almost as if Billy Johnson was daring somebody to go into the pit lane behind him. First, second, third, fourth, all together. Yeah. First and second battling, and third and fourth battling as well.
Yes, but Espinal's got a run there, and Mark Miller having to defend that inside line into turn one.
Now, isn't this over and under for the lead? I think it's going to be. Here comes Guy Cosmo, gets the run from turn one. Let Billy Johnson go a little bit deep. He's on the right-hand side as they come down to turn three. This will be a great manoeuvre if he can pull it off, and he has pulled it off. The side-by-side out to three, and this will allow Mark Miller to get the run, and does. Oh, but at the same time, we've got the 38 Porsche. Oh. Mark Miller needs to get this pass done now before the full course yellow comes out down to 5. And the full course yellow is out. Now, there'll be no more passing just as Guy Cosmo takes the lead. The 38 Porsche is in the wall with Dan Rogers, and we've got cars in the pit lane as well, Shea Adam.
25 comes in and hits its marks perfectly. Chad McCumbee gets out. Stephen McAleer gets in. I only know that because I read the name on the side of the helmet. They are identical. The Ninja Tactics work. 26 has already done their pit stop. Liam Dwyer has gotten out of that car. Andrew Carbonell has belted himself in. The 25 is down. That's the Mazda engine you're hearing of Stephen McAleer going back out on track. 26 is done. They're just finishing the right front. That is the Freedom Motorsport Mazda. They are revving the engine a little bit, having trouble with the right rear tire change. The 7 has come in. Sam Adams has gotten out of the Rebel Rock Porsche, and now it is Elliott Skier. 26 goes back out. We also had the 36 Strategic Wealth. Corey Lewis is now installed behind the wheel of that Porsche as well. The biggest thing, though, Jerome Bleekemolen is now behind the wheel of the 21 Porsche Cayman from Milner Motorsports.
It is going to have been very tight indeed for some people on the end of that, as if they got in before full course yellow. But if they did, well, we'll see.
I think they all got in because we saw that replay. We could see the cars spinning off to the inside wall, and all those ST guys were on already
on pit lane. Yes. Good point. Good point. Robin Liddell, by the way, the second of the Rebel Rock Racing cars, now in 10th position. It was Robin Liddell that made contact with the back of the 38 Porsche that sent that car, the 38 Porsche, yes, with Dan Rogers at the wheel, and sent it spearing across to the right. There's no intent there. Robin got a better run off the final corner, but it was long contact with the back of that car. Yeah,
the 38 car certainly, though, was moving right across towards the middle of the racetrack, and
sort of kind of pinching. For the pit.
Well, he could well have been, and unfortunately, Robin Liddell was already there. So
driver out of the car. Dan is okay. That's the best thing. And we've got a guess perfectly timed. We never want to see full course yellows. Travis Roffler has joined us from Continental Tires. First of all, welcome back to the booth. Travis, always a pleasure to have you.
Always glad to see you guys. You guys are fantastic. We love you.
Yeah, well, you give us a great product, in fairness. Continental Tire this weekend at Road America with their Sports Car Challenge. We've got a full course yellow at the moment. We never want to see that, but it does give us the opportunity to chat to you about Continental Tire going forward. We had the schedule announcement yesterday in the beautiful sunshine in the new Victory Lane here at Road America with Scott Atherton. you guys are continuing your association and support of the series. Let's have another quick look at the incident that's brought out the full course yellow. Yeah, I think Dan might have been heading for the pit lane there, and Robin was already there. That is, again, the very definition of a racing incident. First of all, clearly, you're happy to be involved with this form of racing and continuing your involvement in 17 and beyond?
Oh, absolutely. We love this form of racing, and the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge since 2010 has been just phenomenal racing. You see it today. We've seen it throughout the year after year. Last race, last lap, championships are decided in this series. So, you know, especially, you know, today, look at this weather, Road America.
Crowd that's here.
Unbelievable fans. We love all you guys here at Road America. Fans are amazing here, and couldn't have better weather, and the racing is just heating up.
A couple of changes in the way that the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge Series is going to be working from 17 onwards. First of all, GS goes to a full GT4 basis. And by the way, I should say that the Guy Cosmo pass for the lead was done before the full course yellow. That was moments before, but it absolutely was before down at turn 3. Some of the cars already are GT4, some of them are close to GT4. Do you have to work with the OEMs who provide these racing cars to start thinking about next year's tyres around about now?
Yeah, I mean, we work with them, obviously, but I think Scott pointed out yesterday, the manufacturers, I think there's 4 already homologated with GT4 programs, and a good 8 to 12 more coming that are under development or very close to being completed. So, you know, already with a stellar ST field out here, GS, you know, we're under construction, if you will. Yep. You know, a lower, smaller class field than we'd like to see. But I think the changes that IMSA is evoked and moving into the GT4 platform, as Scott Atherton explained yesterday, really is pushing this, or will push this in the next through 17 and 18 in the right direction moving forward, with the GT4 platform has been the global platform for this type of racing. We're really looking forward to bringing that into the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge.
The couple of changes as well in the format of the races. 2 hours for the substantive races, but the great news is that we start the season with a 4-hour race at Daytona. One of our most successful broadcasts and most popular broadcasts of the year is that Friday afternoon race at the Rolex 24 at Daytona. And then backing that up with another 4-hour race, we're pretty certain that we're going to get the sign-off from the local authorities there at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Now, this takes us back some years since we've had these longer endurance races in Continental Tire.
Yeah, it's going to be super exciting. I mean, from a race car fan perspective, I can't imagine picking out, and especially from a team and a driver. You know, if you talk about the Oval of Daytona as a haloed product to want to be able to race an endurance race for these type of vehicles, and then by the way, you back it up with a track like Mazda Raceway at Laguna Seca, you don't get much better than that for 2 completely diametrically different races or tracks to be able to perform a 4-hour endurance race for our Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge.
Travis, stay with us. We've got the leading 3 of the leading cars into the pit lane, 4 of the leading cars into the pit lane. From CJ Wilson Motorsport, Multimatic, the Aston, both of the Astons are in. Shea Adam is our Continental Tire pit lane reporter. A drag race on pit lane, and the pit lane speed limiters, well, everybody's pit lane speed limiter is not the same, Shea.
No, not all pit lane speed limiters are created equal, John, but the 99 is just doing fuel only. They've already done their driver change. They are good for the day. The 09, Andrew Hobbs' debut, his service is done for the afternoon. Al Carter getting behind the wheel of that car. There is an issue for the 09, though. The rear wheels are spinning while up on jacks. That will be a penalty. The 33 is in getting the tires changed. The fueling is done from what I can see down here. The 15, fuel and tires as well. It was a drag race coming on to pit lane. 33 is down off the jacks. Mark Miller hits the gas. He's getting back up to the speed lane limiter. The 15 has still not left its pit box. Mark Miller will leave ahead of the 15.
It's right front problems this time. Just a bit of finger trouble getting the bolts on. They weren't already on the wheel. Had to be done by hand on the right front. And meantime, the Aston Martin just drops down. rear wheels were indeed spinning on that car, which meant they couldn't get the rear Continental tyres off that. Travis, it's a team game. We talk about this all the time. This is a team game. You cannot afford to make any mistakes. Your series here is you have to be perfect if you want to be in with a shout. Yeah, it's so tight here, and the competition is so tough that a small error in any facet of the race will cost you the win. And you can see right there that, you know, I guess that's a penalty, so they're going to be, even being slower out of the pit to begin with, they're going to get penalized afterwards with the wheel spinning while up on jacks.
What's interesting to me is they came along the pit lane, the number 33 car overtook the number 15 car inside the speed zone. So that's not something you see very often. And I wouldn't have thought the number 15 car was going slower than it needed to. The Multimatic team, well, they've made a couple of gaffes on the pit lane perhaps, but I wouldn't have thought they made that mistake to not set the speed limiter correctly. So that was interesting. And another quick note here just about ST. Brilliant strategy by those guys that came in as we went back to green there, because all of those guys are now going to be in front of everybody else who has not yet stopped. So that is going to leave number 25 car, a great pit stop by Freedom Autosport. That is going to leave Steve McAleer in the lead of the class when we go back to green. Assuming that everyone else stops under this yellow. They will have. They'll have to. Do you think they do? Yeah, or do you think they push on and empty the tank? They've got about. No. Well, actually, they must be pretty close now because they've run an hour and a half, hour and 25, albeit with some long yellows in there. Yeah, so great strategy by those cars that did come in, and misfortune for people like the leader now, because by the way, Sarah Cattaneo had just taken the lead immediately prior to the caution period, hadn't she? Yeah, she just passed the Honda of Chad Gilsinger, so she's going to lead the class onto pit lane. But Owen Trinkler now, he's going to have a whole bunch of cars to overtake before he can get back towards the front of the field. If anybody has got just a splash more of fuel because of all of it, it's going to be tight though. You're not going to be. The only other thing you could do is go 10 more minutes and just go to the 45 minutes to go to get your second driver in. If you've got fuel for that, that would be the only thing that you might want to try. You're still going to lose time though if you've got to make a green flag stop. No, they're all going to come in. Stand by, Shea. You've got the front half of the ST field coming in. Sarah Cattaneo in the Nissan, Chad Gilsinger in the Honda, Jeff Mosing in the Porsche, Andy Lee in the black 22 Porsche, Mark Pombo in the Mini, James Clay in the BMW stays out, as does Cameron Lawrence, Nico Ronde in the first of the Audis in, and Shea Adam will call the pit stops for us as our Continental Tire pit lane reporter.
First car that will hit its pit box is the 44. Sarah Cattaneo, as you mentioned, will be getting out. Owen Trinkler already around the side of the car and eager to get in. It's very odd to stand on this pit wall and be at car level as they're coming towards you, John. If you believe in orange, it's go time for the number 93 Hart Racing Honda. Ryan Eversley is installing himself behind the wheel of that. They are doing front tire change on the 93. The rears will stay. 22 has already completed its driver change. Andy Lee, having started from pole, got out, handed over to Chris Wright. 27 has finished as well. They did their driver change a bit earlier. Danny Bender jumping out well early into the race, and now it is Britt Casey Jr. The Mini is up on its jack stands as well. That is the Honda to keep going. The 44 comes past me right now as well. 93 beat it back out though. Mini still stationary on pit lane, as well as the 56. It will be Eric Foss taking over that car. One of the Compass 360 Audis has gotten back out. The other one just lowering off its jacks now. Alara Racing is still here, and the 22 will be the second to last car off pit lane if it can beat the 34 out, which, nope, the 34 is going to come out in front of the 22. So lots of changes on pit lane.
A big change around there. There was a little stumble on the Mosing Motor Cars 56, the air hammer. The lead for the air hammer, the hose for the air hammer, got tangled up as the crew member went to the left front, and he had to give it 2 or 3 very sturdy tugs to get anywhere near it. That cost 2 or 3 seconds. But the Compass 360 guys have turned Nico Ronde's car around very quickly. Yeah, and he's been fast this weekend. That car's been fast on the straights too. Now here's what I kind of hadn't noticed until just now is when we saw the number 17 car and others make a pit stop right before that caution, the crash at the bottom of the hill. Correct. They were scheduled to do that. The number 84 car, which had been out there before the BMW, that ran very well early on in the race, that did not come in.
I think Spencer Mapelli, those guys, they would have been really marginal on fuel without this caution period. With the caution period, they probably would have been okay, but having run out of fuel here 3 times, I think, in the last 10 years, he wasn't going to have that happen again. So they come on the pit lane. The good news is they made that stop before most of the other contenders, but they are still going to be behind number 84 car and a few others when we get back to green. So it's this is a fascinating motor race. It really is cool.
Well, as ever, Jeremy, to be honest. Travis Roffler is with us, the man at the head of the Continental Tire marketing effort here in motorsport and beyond. Before I talk about the beyond, other excitement. Oh, on the outlap under yellow and the 93 car off. Possibly trying a tad too hard
To catch up with the back of the field.
Continental tyres are good, but you don't really want to run them through the. I don't think that's in your notes to the teams, Travis. Is it drive them through the gravel to get them warmed up?
We definitely do not want them in the gravel. They are not an off-road tire.
Looks like we're going back to green very shortly. So all happy, everybody's good with this series. If you've got time, I'd like to come back tomorrow and talk about some changes in the WeatherTech Championship that are going to give you guys some challenge, if you don't mind.
I would love to.
Settle down and enjoy the race.
We'll be here all weekend.
Travis, thanks for being with us. Thanks for supporting our favourite sport here with the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge, live from trackside at roadamerica.com. Road America, excuse me, on IMSA.com. The Corvette is in, and this will be the 64 car of Guy Cosmo coming to the green flag, and he's got a nice jump there as he goes across the line and in towards turn 1. That's at least half a second, maybe a wee bit more. And now the battle's behind. Jerome Blakemolin in the 21 H&R Porsche goes round the outside of Cameron Castles and into second place. Multimatic Ford Performance number 15, Billy Johnson, he goes through past Cameron Castles down the hill. And the Aston Martin will follow through into turn 3. Mark Miller sitting in 6th position. He goes side by side with Cameron Castles, and he will make up a position. In the background, Al Carter in the second of the Aston Martins is not that far away either. So these are all on the same lap, by the way, ladies and gents. So the battle for the top 6, top 7 positions is as it looks on the circuit. And Jeremy Shaw, now this should be a no holds barred 3 falls, 2 submissions or a knockout run to the finish.
Yeah, and it's certainly bad news for car number 12, Body Motion Racing, because Cameron Castles hasn't yet completed his 45 minutes driving time, so he couldn't come in under that caution because he has to complete that as a minimum. So whoa, there's a big off there for Al Carter.
Somehow managed to
save.
Yeah, very good save indeed. Coming back to green, and the 09 Aston Martin, the yellow and light blue car, hitting. We saw rather too much of the side of that for a moment, as Al Carter was very fast hands on the steering wheel there. Through the kink though, is seriously leaning on that car, so clearly has plenty of confidence in the Continental tyres, having come up to temp and pressure quickly. He was pressuring at the time, trying to make up position, tried to go down the inside, left his braking just a tad on the leg side.
That's a bit optimistic.
Optimistic, yeah. I tell you what though, sideways it scrubbed off speed very quickly indeed. That was more rally driver than precision driving on the race circuit.
Great car control. He never went off the
hard standing. And he never locked the brakes up either, but he's back into the pit lane now. And wonder if perhaps he's just rattled something loose in the braking system when they did the pit stop. Now, what I'm interested to see here is what happens with Mark Miller at the back of this group, as Al Carter is back on the pit road. Shea Adam will keep an eye on that. 57 minutes to go. The ST battle streams through in front of us, and it's Mini 73 with the driver behind the wheel, Matt Pombo, and Cameron Lawrence battling for the lead there. So where's the 84 con? James Clay's dropped back into their clutches and in fact has been dispatched, and he's got cars either side of him as he comes down to turn number 3, and then 122 ST cars all battering for 9th position, it would seem. Stephen McAleer was in there, Owen Trinkler, Andrew Carbonell, Corey Lewis, Britt Casey Jr., Eric Voss, all those guys who just made the pit stop are trying to fight their way through. They are quick cars and they are coming through as a swarm at the moment. The 09 comes through the pits, of course, for its drive-through for wheel spin during that pit stop. Shane reminded me, thank you very much indeed. Owen Trinkler then at the head of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's got to be 10-car battle for position number 7 in class already. Ahead of him, Devon Jones is just about 2 seconds further up the road, and the lead is being held at the moment by Matt Pombo in the John Cooper Works Mini. We've seen the Minis just coming on to real form this year, Jeremy. More Minis in the car corrals and driving the fast laps as well. This has really been a fan favourite this year, and it's not just in the intermediate conditions now. This Mini is a serious contender.
Yeah, it needs Pombo brothers, Matt and Mark. It's Matt at the wheel of the 73 car that's now leading. Both of them, their dad, Pepe Pombo, was a star in this sort of racing, actually, about 25, 30 years ago. Sorry, Matt. Sorry, Pepe. But great to see Matt here having such a fantastic run in this Mini. He took the lead there, legitimate move for the lead. Now he's got a... But yeah, both of these cars are front-wheel drive cars. The Mini is a turbo as well, so they put a lot of strain on those Continental tyres.
And one of the great attributes, of course, is the fact that there's so much variety. Front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, front engine, rear engines, mid-engines.
By the way,
the Aston is
challenging for second place.
Charles Esplanad's just in his fastest lap of the race at 23.0. He was the fastest of the top 6 last time around, but the action is in the bottom end of the top 10 in ST. Is 1, 2, 3, 4 abreast almost for a moment as they head up the field. I almost have to put my hands over my eyes as they go past us. So Trinkler's been shuffled back now as he is trying to push on and bridge the gap. It's almost like bicycle racing here as the effectively we've got the peloton trying to chase down a breakaway group, and at the moment Owen Trinkler is trying to pull them along. Robin Liddell, Devon Jones and Spencer Pumpelly, 4th, 5th and 6th are having a cracking battle, and the 93 fighting its way back as well. Cameron Lawrence in the 92 Honda in 2nd position. The 93 is in 14th position now. Ryan Eversley behind the wheel of that, and Ryan tweeting to us earlier on that they actually spot weld the suspension mounts for their cars around here. That was bump drafting.
Yeah, I hope they've spot welded the rear bumper on the Mini as well, because it was certainly getting some help from the Honda on the run down towards turn 5.
Yeah, that was a very, very long bump draft. More like a cuddle draft. Certainly wasn't
down the straightaway.
It wasn't just a love tap, was it? That was it.
It's amazing how much time you can pick up by nudging the tail of the car in front of you. I drove some SCCA race trucks a long time ago, and we used to pick up 5 seconds a lap at Riverside International Raceway. That shows how long ago that was.
Which now no longer exists. Yes. But Jeremy Shaw does, and he's standing next to me, as is Travis Rovler, who's watching intent on enjoying this race as much as we are. And the Purple People Eater now, Owen Trinkler right with Devon Jones in the number 31 Porsche. The blue car goes to driver's right and has a look down the inside. The 8 of Greg Laferga as well is in there, and he's just made that pass. Robin Liddell a little bit further up the field. No, he's just dropped behind now. That's the 8 car that's gone behind. That was the blue car. Robin Liddell has fought his way back up as well. Positions literally changing in ST at every single straight corner. But
it's the same with GS as well. Charles Esplanade was up in the 2nd place. 3rd, 4th and 5th as they sped across the line, but separated by 0.124 of a second. 0.124 of a second, that's 3 cars.
And Billy Johnson's dropped down to 4th, 0.003 ahead of Mark Miller. Those are the 2 championship protagonists. Jerome Bleekemolen has got the 21 Porsche now up into 3rd position. So Cosmo leads by 3 seconds from Esplanade in the Aston. He's got another second on Jerome Bleekemolen, and then nothing at all between Bleekemolen, Johnson and Miller. Not even 2/10 between that gaggle of cars, and they're really having a cracking battle at the moment. Through turn 5, as Charles Esplanade has just made a little break for freedom from these 3 under the Corvette bridge. Still 51 minutes, by the way, of this. So perhaps we just want to take a breath, think some nice, quiet thoughts. Imagine yourself on a beach with a nice drink and some sunshine.
Or not.
Or not. Or right here.
Get into the race.
Exactly. right here, trackside, with it turned up to 11ty stupid. Front of the ST field. 73 Mini squirming around, as Minis have always done, under braking the back end, the two back wheels really just there to keep the exhaust pipe off the ground. All the work being done by the front end, and those two Continental tyres are working very, very hard at the front end of both of these front-wheel drive machines at the moment. They've pulled away in the ST battle. Matt Pombo in the bright red 73 Mini, and Cameron Lawrence is right there, and then it's 3 seconds back to the rest of the field. Yeah. But we need pit stops from these guys, don't we?
No. These guys out front, no, probably not. They can probably get to the end here from now, but Spencer
16 for Matt Pombo. That was the last pit stop.
Yeah, but that was all after all those...
All the yellows? Well, if he can go from here, I'll be impressed. But they can, I mean, they only normally need one stop, Jeremy, you're right, so it's just a question of what he's got left in the tank. And he's going to tough it out from here, surely. As behind them, the charge is led by Spencer Pumpelly. Now, his last pit stop was 24.
He's certainly good.
Sorry, 16. Who? Yeah, Spencer Pumpelly.
No, he's already
24. I was right in the first place.
He was in lately. Everybody behind him, and Owen Trinkler is charging along behind Spencer as well. So those two are certainly the guys to watch.
Now, significant for the championship that Jerome Blakemolen has had to give best back to Billy Johnson, who's back up into third place. So now Mark Miller needs to get by the 21 car as quickly as possible, as in comes Cameron Castles. He's done now. He's 45 minutes in the body motion. Number 12, Porsche Cayman. He crosses the line now, and here's Shea Adam to watch what should be a full service stop. They won't need a full tank of fuel, but I suspect they'll be getting a brand new driver.
I believe there will be a new driver, John. I just don't know if they're going to take the time to do tires. Yep, Trent Hidman has jumped over the pit wall. They are doing new left-side Continental tires at the very least. Trent is eager to get back behind the wheel, as he so often is. That is a characteristic of young Mr. Hidman. Cameron Castle's now doing the reverse part of the driver change, the part that he's used to. Yep, right side tires will be going on the 12 as well. An interesting note, they will have jumped ahead of the 76. They will take third in the championship after today, despite missing Daytona, because the 76, which held that position, was only 1 point ahead. So with their DNF today, the number 12, they go up to third. Trent Hidman wastes no time getting back out into the fast lane. He will finish out the race, and keep an eye on the 64, because Guy Cosmo has driven the entirety of the race so far, and Ted Giovannis still without his helmet on. He's not getting in the car soon.
Thanks, Shea Adam down there in the pit lane. Jeremy and I have decided we're going to take the golf cart and head out to the back of the circuit and watch the rest of the race from there, and you just talk amongst yourselves. This is fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
The only thing that could be possibly better than where we are at the moment is if we were standing trackside and watching these battles, but we've got the best view in the house thanks to our camera operators who've been working very hard this weekend already. It's the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge as part of the Road Race Showcase here at Road America. The IMSA series once again proving that the Saturday main Continental Tire SportsCar Championship is living up to its top billing. It really has become one of the golden attributes of the IMSA portfolio, racing right throughout the field for major positions. And the ST battle is still burning hot as they come through to complete what will be their 33rd lap. And Matt Pombo pitches the Mini in. Is he heading towards the pit lane? Still the big question mark. No, he stays on the racing line, and that means that the 92 of Cameron Lawrence can get a little bit of a drag up the hill. He pops out just to have a look. Then again, eases out. Am I going to have a go? Am I just going to intimidate him? I want to move him to the middle of the road. That's what Cameron Lawrence is thinking. Come on, move across to the middle. No, he's not going to do it. I'm going to have to try and do him on the brakes, but I'm too far back. Meantime, third position in ST has now gone to Spencer Pumpelly, with Owen Trinkler just half a second behind him.
Yeah, and Owen Trinkler just set the fastest lap of the race in ST on the previous lap. Now he's on to the tail of Spencer Pumpelly, and these two are certainly inching closer to this battle for the lead.
They are absolutely on the ragged edge, these two cars. The rear end of these two front-wheel drive machines at the front of the field are just being dragged around at the moment, and Spencer Pumpelly and Owen Trinkler are going to make this a 4-car battle for the lead within a lap or two, so within 8 or 10 miles, maybe not even that much, as they're into the braking area at turn 5, the left-hander with that really difficult downhill braking zone. Yeah, it's going to be 4 for the lead. I need to lie down in a quiet room after this. Here comes Spencer Pumpelly, who we know is fueled to the end of the race. There may be question marks over the 2 cars ahead who stopped on lap 16. We are now on lap 34. Oh, the Mini just drifting a tiny bit wide, but Pombo manages to hold his line into the carousel. Spencer Pumpelly edging ever closer, and Owen Trinkler's not that far behind either, just another half a second or thereabouts. Then it's a bit of a gap to Devon Jones and James Clear. It's 5 seconds back to James Clear, but then about another 6 cars within a second, because James Clear in the BMW in 5th has Devon Jones in 6th in the 31 Porsche, Robin Liddell in the 8 Rebel Rock Racing car in 7th position. He's just another half a second back. He's got 4/10 on Eric Voss in the 56 car. Ryan Eversley inside the top 10 at 9 in the 93. These are all ST positions, of course. In GS, Guy Cosmo has had his lead cut to 2.3 seconds with Billy Johnson another 2 seconds further back in second. Jerome Blakemolen dropping away in third now, but not able, Mark Miller not able in 5th to get by. 64, 99, 15, 21, 33 is your top 5 in GS and overall. And Spencer Pumpelly has joined the party at the front of the field.
Absolutely has. Clearly didn't like the fact that that Owen Trinkler set the fastest lap in the class there, because Spencer has now closed right up to the lead as we see Cameron Lawrence looking at the inside in turn 1. Is he close enough?
Don't touch. And here comes the 17 of Spencer Pumpelly to look down the middle. There were 3 abreast there for a moment. Pumpelly was thinking about it, I saw it done in a cartoon once, I might be able to slide through. He needed to sort of pull a lever and make the Cayman about 2 feet narrower than it was to slide through the middle there. Very wacky races. It's 4 for the lead now, heading down towards the braking area, turn 5. Mini, Honda, Porsche, Nissan. Pumpelly sticks his nose up into second place, and immediately Trinkler tries to get the drag down the inside, the left-hand side of the road into turn 5. The 2 cars ahead are going to slow themselves up, and Trinkler will try to do the over and under and get the momentum. He's done it perfectly. Oh, but the Honda pulls right out in front of him, didn't know he was there. Trinkler backs off, no harm, no foul. The 2 battling ahead, and the 92 of Cameron Lawrence there, trying to get his second position back, unknowingly blocked Owen Trinkler behind. That was really heads-up driving by Trinkler there, actually, Jeremy, in both circumstances, getting himself in the position and then getting himself out of a situation that might have happened.
It was, wasn't it? An intriguing battle this is between these 4 cars. They've got the Mini, the Porsche, the Honda and the Nissan. Pretty much nose to tail coming out of the carousel. 35 laps completed, 42 minutes remaining.
And Matt Pombo, with this battling going on behind him, has got probably half a second, which in context of what we've been watching in the last 15 minutes, Jeremy, is actually a cushion. In fact, it's more than that. It's a rather comfy chair. Down into in relative terms, yes. And as I say that, of course, Spencer Pumpelly brakes super late and rather throws the Cayman number 17 at the apex of Canada Corner. The Cayman says, thank you very much, that's exactly what I want to do. That's what I've been built for. Final corner, heading up the hill to complete their 35th lap. Cosmo pulls out 0.8 of a second at the head of the lead, at the head of the field, by the way, from Esplanade in second, and Billy Johnson's closing in third. Bleekemolen and Mark Miller still battling, but the top 4 in ST. 16 wheels of ST excitement goes by our start-finish point commentary. And down into the first corner, Owen Trinkler again just playing the waiting game at the back of these 4 cars. And again gets a lovely run out of turn 1. And again the Honda's gone a little bit wide. And now we've got 2 groups of 2 coming down into turn number 3 for the ST top 4 positions. And the lead changes. Through goes Spencer Pumpelly, and third place changes as well, as the guys who were on the right-hand side of the track both had the advantage into the right-hander. They had the racing line. And it is now Spencer Pumpelly from Matt Pombo, from Owen Trinkler, from Cameron Lawrence, and Trinkler immediately going for second, trying to get the drag around the outside of the Mini as they come down the Canada corner to turn 5 rather. But the Mini's gone down the inside and retake second position, or hold second position, should I say. And now take your headset off and mingle with the crowd. This is brilliant stuff. Yeah. The leader, Guy Cosmo, by the way, is in elegant isolation at the moment. This battle is about to be interrupted by Al Carter coming back from his drive-through and having to pick his way through this little lot. And that is going to make for even more entertainment.
Now got a 4-car battle, the second place overall, by the way, because Charles Espinard's been caught by Billy Johnson, and Jerome Bleckenmole and Mark Miller right with them as well. They're heading into turn 1 at the moment. The rest of this battle for the lead in ST is heading around a carousel at the other end of the racetrack.
Don't forget, Guy Cosmo needs to stop before the end of the race. He's been in that car since lap 15. We're now on 36. I cannot believe that he's going to get to the end of the race from there. Everyone else is fueled to the end of the race. The 64 then of Guy Cosmo, looking very cool and collected at the moment. Ted Giovannis and the TGM team with their Porsche Cayman.
Well, Ted's never had a win in this championship. He's had a second place finish, had a second and a third last year with David Murray. That was in ST. He's never had an overall win before, or even a class win before.
So Billy Johnson now into second position. He's got past Charles Esplanade. So that 4-car battle now all coming together. Esplanade in the black and yellow Aston Martin will come under pressure from Jerome Bleckenmole as Owen Trinkler is back up into second place now in ST and has managed to keep the Mini behind him this time. So in ST, with Al Carter coming through that 4-car train, Spencer Pumpelly leads for the number 17 RS1 Porsche Cayman team, and then Owen Trinkler for the 44 Nissan Altima. Then it's Matt Pombo for the 73 Mini and Cameron Lawrence for the 92 Honda. Dare we take a breath for a moment?
Right, it's tremendous, isn't it? And there's battles all the way through this field.
Oh, yes.
That's the cool
well, there's
part
still this great battle behind James Clay as well, actually, for 7th on down in ST. Clay in the BMW, Robin Liddell, Devon Jones, Nico Ronde having a really good run in the 74 car.
And the two Freedom Autosport cars, Stephen McAleer and Andrew Carbonell, the tail of that trainer cast as well.
And that is for 7th down over in the ST category. And it seems as though, as they went past us, Charles Esplanade had a bit of a run on Billy Johnson into the first corner. Meantime, 73 Mini John Cooper Works. That classic dark red Mini colour. Black roof on this car, shiny black roof though. 37 and 73. Well, 37 was a very famous Mini number, of course, the Monte Carlo car. Go and look it up if you don't know. 73, the reverse of that, and actually the number that I try to race under when I can. So I feel a little affinity with that red Mini. Just dropping away at the moment from Owen Trinkler. Shea Adam sweetly opines that was the year I was born. If you think I could get away with it, Shea, I'll claim it, but somehow no. Guy Cosmo then. Is he stroking the car, the 64 car, home to a famous victory 56, Eric Foss. And he is the start of this awesome battle now, because James Clear, having been pressured from behind, has dragged that line of cars right up to him. Cameron Lawrence, Ryan Eversley rather, is just ahead of them there. So it's 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th and 13th. Pretty much in a straight line going past us now, and 3 wide across the line. And the Porsche going through the inside is out of position. That's one of the GS cars as they're going through, but my goodness, they are so close together. And change of position there as Nico Ronde got by Robin Liddell for 9th position in ST. Now, I think that might be the best if they were to finish now. Oh, and a little nudge in the middle of the corner. Number 3 by Robin Liddell on the back of the S3, which has sent the 74's boot lid open, and then it slammed itself shut again. And there's the 36 cars in amongst that as well. That's Corey Lewis. He's in 10th at the moment. Just about to say, I think that 360 car in the hands of Nico Ronde inside the top 10. I think that would be that car's best finish this year in 8th. 26 is Andrew Carbonell. He's just on the back of this group. Ahead of him is Corey Lewis in the Porsche. Ahead of him is Stephen McAleer. Then it's Robin Liddell. We have got 5th down to 15th. All battling. Oh, piece of something falling off a Porsche there. Was it a wheel? Was it a tyre? What was it? Something large, maybe a wheel liner, an inner wheel arch liner then from the 36 maybe?
Yeah, that's Corey Lewis. He's been charged along in this tremendous pack, and here is on board here with Stephen McAleer. He's trying to make up ground. He's still in a championship hunt here. He doesn't want to lose too many points to Spencer Pompelli.
At the front of the field, Billy Johnson has only 0.3 of a second on Charles Esplanade for second place. But Shea Adam, that's not going to be the battle for second for very much longer.
It's going to be the battle for a lead, John, because Team TGM finally showing some signs of life for a pit stop that is imminent. They have new tires and they have that fuel line ready to go. So Guy Cosmo will be bringing that car in anytime now, and he will be getting out of it most likely.
No. I think Ted's done his time. Yeah. Ted did his time at the start of the race. So Guy Cosmo can go to the end. It will not need a full tank of fuel, so it'll be a timed stop. So basically, they'll put if they're gonna put four tyres on, then they might as well fill it as much as they need.
Oh, wait a minute, 44 car is slowing.
Oh no! Owen Trinkler has dropped down behind Matt Pombo. You're absolutely right, and then gone past. Cameron Lawrence is slow as well as he goes by. The 93 car. Side by side, the two Mazdas as they went past us. The 25, in fact, it was Stephen McAleer and Corey Lewis and Andrew Carbonell right there as well. So 2 Mazdas and a Porsche, almost indistinguishable. They were so close together. So Billy Johnson with Charles Esplanade right in his wheel tracks. 1 more lap at least for Guy Cosmo. 4 seconds the gap, nearly 5 last time around. Mazdas, Porsches, all battling in the midfield of ST. 33 minutes to go. This is extraordinary racing. We are used, Jeremy, to seeing great racing in the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge. What we've seen today is great racing in the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge right the way through the field. Not an odd pocket of battles here and there. These are battles for major positions within the top 10 and sometimes right through the top 10. And this is battles of 3, 4, 5, 6 and more cars at a time. Whoever does the performance balancing here, go and give yourself a couple of weeks off in the Bahamas, because you have done a cracking job. A cracking job.
Yeah. Tremendous racing going on here. The Mazdas still trying to work their way up. They're on board here. Let's look at the replay. It's the 25 car made a move there on Corey Lewis, and Andrew Carbonell trying to follow him through up the hill towards start-finish line.
It's, yeah, Stephen McAleer behind the wheel of the 25, cresting the brow. It was very close indeed between the 26 Mazda and the Porsche. Did they actually touch? No, I don't think so. But there was nothing between them as they went across the line.
By the way, the number 64 car and the number 12, by the way, which is working his way back up the order, and then 0 and 9 come to that. They will need a full course caution. If there's a full course caution in the final stage of this race, they'll be back in the picture just to make it a little bit more exciting, John. What do you think? We need that?
Yes, probably.
Oh, number 44 car's at full speed there, so it's maintained. He must have had a problem maybe coming up the hill on that previous lap, because he's back up to full speed now and still in 4th place in the ST class.
Just checking who started the 64 car. Ted Giovannis did start the 64 car, didn't he? Yes, I thought he did. Yeah, and they came in just on the 45 minutes at that yellow flag. Right, battles at the bottom end of the top 10 in ST as Nico Ronde continues his charge towards a top 5 finish, maybe. James Clear, the latest victim. But they've gone side by side through turn 3. That slowed them down. And Robin Liddell, Stephen McAleer and Andrew Carbonell are all thinking, well, with these guys side by side, maybe we can take a little advantage. As into the pit lane comes the car that was leading. Shea Adam, you've got Guy Cosmo.
Fuel is already going in. The rear wheel was spinning, though, as the mechanic tried to start the tire change. He was slowed down because he couldn't actually get the air gun onto any of the nuts to try and pull that rear tire off. No problem with the front, though. That's already been completed. The fueling done long ago. They have done the left sides. They're doing right sides as well. Both sides, so this is taking much longer pit stop because they finished the fueling about 20 seconds ago. The right front is already on, the right rear is going on, but that is the slowest of the tires to go on. Blast of the air guns, air jack comes out, car's down, Guy Cosmo goes back out.
John, it doesn't really matter how long that pit stop takes, because they're not going to go a lap down and not going to lose any positions. They just need a caution in any case and to get themselves back into contention.
And they've got a very, very new set of Continental tyres on. Meantime, the ST battle for 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th and down to 29th continues, with James Clear having retaken the position from Nico Ronde. So that is 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Well, it really is down to 15th or 16th position there, as they're at Canada Corner now. The orange, white and black Audi S3 taken from the showroom floor in Toronto, one of 2 of the first 2 cars delivered. And round the outside, Quattro gives extra grip for Nico Ronde as, the 22 car's in trouble. It's been a good run for the 22 car. Just dropped off the pace a little bit more recently, but Chris Wright now is in strife. He's off the circuit to driver's right in a car that looks like it may have broken a right rear suspension arm. It's certainly steering from the rear more than it should. He's on the inside of the carousel and trying to reverse the car behind the barrier. Now, if he can get that done, that would be brilliant, because the problem is the right rear is turning when he reverses and pushing him sideways. He's behind the Armco. This is what happened to the 19. He had contact, I think, to initiate the suspension damage. Chris trying to do the sportsmanlike thing and get that car out of the way. So Nico Ronde up into 7th position now in ST.
As you said, that would be the first top 10 finish for the season for that team. They had a good result at Road Atlanta last season in wet conditions, where the Quattro there really shone, of course. But now it's been a good, solid run by that C360 RT.
Checking with the 64 team just to make sure I wasn't wrong. Ted Giovannis has definitely got his drive time in. Got his drive time in early. So Guy Cosmo in 5th position as he rejoins. So Ryan Eversley in 5th position in the 93 car, having hauled that car back up. The 92, they've both been up at the back, the 2 Hondas. 3rd and 5th now is a fantastic haul of points for those guys. Let's have a word with Sarah Cattaneo from the 44 Nissan Altima. Owen Trinkler, 4th position.
Sarah, we always love watching you off the start and just carving your way up through the field. You didn't have that many cars to pass to get to the front, but how did the Nissan feel during your stint?
Oh, it felt great. The crew did a great job getting the car ready for us today, and it felt amazing. Best it's ever felt.
You were the fastest car in a straight line, and at a track like this, that's kind of an important thing. Do you think Owen has what it takes to get around Spencer and get back for another win?
This track definitely suits our car well. Unfortunately, we broke 5th gear, so he's just trying to hold on out there right now.
Man, best of luck to him.
Thank you.
Not what we wanted to hear.
Okay, so that's what we saw then coming up the hill.
Correct.
Clearly he lost the gear, but was able to
find something
and continue. Yeah, he certainly now won't have the top line speed that he had before.
Billy Johnson by just 0.3 of a second at the front of the field over Esplanade. So 15 and 99. That's the white Ford Mustang and the dark grey and black and yellow Aston Martin. Then Jerome Blinkenmole in the 21, the white Porsche, and they are in traffic. They are in traffic now, and this is an opportunity for Esplanade. Off has gone Pombo in the Mini. Oh, what a shame. The 73 car has gone off from second position.
No, that's the 37.
Oh, no, it's the 37. My apologies. It's Ethan Lowe. The car was spinning at the time. I saw the 7 first and then the 3 as it was going backwards. I'm claiming that one, I tell you. He's got it pointing in the right direction. It's turn 1 that this has happened. So he's managed to get it going. There will be no full course caution, I don't think. Right front looks okay. Left front is vaguely pointing in the centre. My goodness, hands off the wheel by the 26 car. As he was getting so sideways, he had to spin the steering wheel around. Andrew Carbonell, amazingly quick hands in the little Mazda. And the leader, Billy Johnson, is coming through that pack of cars that is headed by James Clare, who's battling for 8th, 9th, 10th and down over in ST, but he's cleared them now. And by the way, Chris Wright's car is to driver's right, but covered enough by the Armco that Race Direction have decided that that's not going to be an issue. If you're watching the pictures now, watch the hands on the 26 car. Turns it in one way, gets in the slide, coming around, hands off the wheel, let the car straighten itself up and then hands back on again. Woo! Keep both hands on the wheel at all times. Sometimes you just got to work a little bit quicker. The camber angle of the car and the caster angle, particularly of the car, straightens the wheel up. The clever bit is catching it whilst it's pointing in the direction that you want to go. 23 minutes, 24 minutes near enough, still to run, as Mark Miller is still trying to put pressure on Jerome Blinkenmole as they fight their way through this battle now. First and second go past us, separated by less than half a second. Aston and Mustang into the pits, the 44. Owen Trinkler has come. Did he go straight through there, Jeremy? So that's got to be a drive-through. Shea will get the news on that for us. Nico Ronde now is the next driver who'll be passed by the two Caymans battling for third place on the last step on the podium. He keeps out of the way as out comes Owen Trinkler. Shame, that's been a good run by the 44 crew. The Nissan Altima has been rocket ship quick. They've dropped 4 seconds or so to the leaders in that battle through the traffic. But Billy Johnson is not shaking the 99 of Charles Esplanade, far from it as they go into 7. Esplanade is challenging again. This has been a really, really good drive by Esplanade, and the Aston number 99 really showing some form here. Scott Maxwell saying at the countdown to green to Shea when we did the pole interview, he says, I think the Aston's got us about the same amount of performance as we do pretty much everywhere on the track. Well, this is being borne out at the moment, and Charles Esplanade is having the drive of his life here.
Yeah, tremendous, isn't it? It's been a long time since he's won a race here, and he's absolutely giving it all. Charlie Putman had a great opening stint as well. That's what put the car into contention here and Charles Espinal. These two have been long-time partners, driven a whole bunch of all sorts of different cars together, and really doing a fine job today.
Live from trackside at Road America, it's IMSA Radio, IMSA.com, the IMSA app, and the Radio Show Limited RSL networks all together. As Robert Liddell is off the pavement and onto the grass, and the Rebel Rock Racing number 8 Porsche becomes the world's fastest lawnmower. And that was fast, because that was down by the kink. And that means that Robin will drop down to the outskirts of the top 15 behind Nate Norenberg in the number 52 Mini. A bit of damage on the 92 car. In third position in ST, Cameron Lawrence has got a wheel arch, a fender just flapping in the wind. Spencer Pumpelly has pulled out 5.6 seconds of a lead in ST. He can stroke it home from here with 21 minutes to go. I think anybody's going to begrudge Spencer a win here after he's come close and been denied with fuel problems, as in lack thereof. What, a couple of 3 times here at least. Blake Moreland and Mark Miller unable to close the gap on the guys ahead, although that time around Espinal got caught in traffic, so in fact they have closed down to a couple of seconds. But it appears that the front engine rear wheel drive V8s are just going a little better. And today is the day to have the grunt rather than the nimbleness of the flat 6 Caymans. Still plenty of racing left in this one. Lap 45, time certain race with 20 minutes to go. We're looking at around about 8 or 10 laps to go, as into the pit lane and behind the wall. It's the end of the day, I'm afraid, and this has championship implications for the 44 car. The Nissan has gone behind the wall, broken in 5th gear, and is in 17th position now. It may drop down. There are cars still running around that area. So close, though. They're going to lose points.
Two class leaders there
together
coming up through turn 13.
Nice picture for somebody before they head into the final corner with the 73 Mini. Actually, he's only second Matt Pombo at the moment, in fairness, because we've got Spencer Pumpelly up there. But give Billy Johnson half a lap and we'll be able to say that again. We'll just replay that. Espinal coming through in second place ahead of third Bleecker Moreland, and all of a sudden Bleecker Moreland just starting to look a little more racy. In fact, it was Mark Miller with the fastest lap in the top 4 last time around. Trent Hindman's taken the fastest lap of the race, I believe, although yes. Guy Cosmo's getting close to it. I saw a 22 for Trent Hindman earlier on. Yeah, 22.7. That was way back on lap 10. 23.7 for Guy Cosmo at the moment, who is in 5th place ahead of Hindman by about 20 seconds. Guy Cosmo's hopes rely on a full course yellow of some description, or a neutralisation of the race of some description to get him to close the gap on Mark Miller and Bleecker Moreland, Espinal and Billy Jones, who all of a sudden has nearly 2 seconds of a lead, and that is the sort of lead that Billy Johnson seldom gives up, Jeremy.
Yeah, he got through that traffic really well there, did Billy Johnson, and made a couple of passes coming to the final couple of corners. So with 2 cars between them as they came across, well, up towards the start-finish line. So that certainly cost Charles Espinal a little bit of momentum there. But to look at their fastest laps that each of those two have set, Espinal has been the quicker of the 2 during this race. He's done the best of 2:23.0 against the 2:23.6 of Billy Johnson. So the Aston's certainly quick enough. Has he looked after his tyres? Does he have any rubber left for these final stages of the race? Just still 17 minutes to go, though.
Rico Ronde now into 6th position, and he's 9 seconds behind Eric Voss for 5th. The 92 Honda with its boot still flapping, that was from earlier on. The 74 had its boot open as well, that Nico Rondo car. That was all penned by Robin Liddell, who, after that off-track incident, dropped way down to 16th or 17th, but is now back up to 13th. It really is that close. In fact, the bulk of the ST field, first to, let's say, 15th, are running on the same lap with only 45.5 seconds between them, front to back of the top 15. Which in the context of this long green flag run, Jeremy, is pretty impressive. And I'll say again, whoever does the equalisation of performance here has done a very good job with some very, very different cars.
Miller was in pit lane, I think.
Correct. We were not expecting this. Have they got a problem? Are they going to try some new rubber? Meantime, the battles continue. The 26, Andrew Carbonell, comes past us now, right in the wheel tracks of Devin Jones in the number 31 Porsche. Jones goes through. Let's go down to the pit lane. Shea Adam, is there a problem for the CJ Wilson racing car?
It was a splash for Mark Miller, and instead of refueling through the hood, as they have done all this year from Sebring on, they're using the port that all the rest of the Caymans use, the one that you would use at a fuel station if you own a Porsche Cayman. So maybe CJ Wilson figured out that that is the quicker way to fill these cars, but Mark Miller needed a splash and dash.
So that last pit stop then didn't quite get the requisite amount of fuel in, or maybe they were hoping for a yellow. Took the chance on the...
Well, in that case, we need to find out whether the Multimatic car can make it as well. Because they were in on the same lap, those two. They both pitted on lap 26.
Right.
15 car.
Jerome Blingemolen pitted on lap 24. Billy Johnson, Charles Esplanade, both on 26. The Aston and the lead Ford. Sorry, I had to break off there because, again, sawing on the steering wheel by the 26 Mazda driver, that being Andrew Carbonell. He had two Contis on the grass there, coming up from 5 to 6, trying to get around the number 31 of Devin Jones. These two are having a super scrap. I hope they're in the bar at Seepkins tonight buying each other a pint, because this has been tremendously close but fair and respectful racing. Two little sports cars from different manufacturers with different philosophies. Mid-engined, rear-wheel drive, of course, on the Cayman. Flat 6, 4-pot in line. Mazda rear-wheel drive engine at the front. Super light, super nimble cars. So closely balanced through the kink in a lovely flat 4-wheel drift from Carbonell. The 26 snatches top gear as they head down towards the braking area at Canada Corner. Behind them, James Clay is still trying to fight off all kinds of marauders. In this case, it's Britt Casey Jr. in the 27 Mazda behind Britt Casey's Corey Lewis. Here is the 21, Jerome Blingemolen, into the pits, and that's fuel as well. So Trent Hindman, we're hearing, in the body motion Porsche, the only car that is good on fuel. So just the number 12 body motion car sitting at the moment down in 6th position. He came in on lap 32. Now obviously Guy Cosmo's been in. He's been in relatively recently, 6 laps ago. Al Carter came in on 29, he'll be fine. So the two leaders need to be in as well. This is not over. With 13 minutes to go, there's an opportunity for a fumble in the pits. And with Mark Miller and Jerome Blingemolen both having done their final pit stops, I'm looking to see whether Miller's come through as Blingemolen is out. There goes the 64 of Guy Cosmo, so Miller must have gone through. So did Blingemolen get out ahead of Mark Miller? I'll tell you in a second or two when they go through the first timing line. No, Mark Miller has gone back up into 3rd position. And he's done it by a decent margin. So he's in lap, the splash of fuel from the 33 has turned this around, and Mark Miller couldn't get by. Well, I wonder if he was just trying to save a little bit of fuel when he wasn't pushing that hard. He didn't really make a challenge on Blake Moreland. Guy Cosmo now just 7 seconds behind. Cosmo is not out of this yet. Not out of this at all. Esplanade and Billy Johnson will need a very small splash of fuel soon. And in comes Johnson from the lead. Now, does the Aston follow him in? It does not. We said, Jeremy, didn't we, early on, the Aston has got great fuel mileage. Has it got another 11.5 minutes worth? Because this would be a famous victory for Aston Martin if they can hold on.
So at Lime Rock Park a couple of weeks ago, it could go about 10 more minutes or so, I think, than the...
Oh, my goodness. It's a long, long run on the pit lane speed limit for the number 15. Shea Adam is watching that car. The leader is already through the corner. I'm watching to see where Mark Miller is. He can't be that far away, Shea.
Nope, and I'll keep you posted down here. They've got fuel going in. They are waiting to tap the mechanic on the back who is doing the fueling now. He pulls out immediately. No time wasted. Boot lid goes back down. It stays sealed. That was a good stop from them.
And here's Mark Miller now across the line. It's going to be a dash to the first corner. The pit lane speed limiter is off from the 15, but Mark Miller is coming. He's got the momentum. Watch very carefully down at turn 1 because Mark Miller is up to speed. This is going to be very close indeed. And immediately, Billy Johnson has to make a pass. Mark Miller is less than 3 seconds behind. And on a charge, Esplanade, Johnson and Miller. That's your top 3 at the moment. 10 seconds between first and second, although in fairness, second was in the pit lane that time, so it won't be that much. So, Charles Esplanade, here's the question. Do you risk it and say we can get to the end, or do you bring him in for the merest hint of a splash, of a suggestion, of a drop of fuel, and say, we think, because we're keeping you still less time, we can still get you out in front of Billy Johnson. 45 seconds between first and second at the moment. You can cruise it, can't you, if you're close?
You can. You know, they will. I can't see any point in bringing him into the pits right now. They'll probably wait until 1 lap to go through. If there's a caution period, they're out front, they're golden.
Good point.
So then it's no problem. The question is, they will know. I don't know exactly how far that Aston can go, I must say. But it's going to be fairly marginal. I don't think it certainly isn't going to be easy.
It's going to be 4 laps more than they need. Four laps more than they need from what the Ford did.
Yeah,
and that's 16 miles. Have they got an extra 16 miles in the tank? There's your question.
You can back it off now by a couple of seconds a lap. And that'll save them a fair amount of fuel. That's exactly what he's doing. 2:28.6 last time around. That's a good couple of 3 seconds slower than he was going. So, and Charles Esplanade, I mean, he's been around sport a long, long time, so he knows how to save fuel.
Mark Miller is not saving fuel. 26.5 last time around in traffic. Jerome Blake and Moreland. Guy Cosmo, 24.5, by the way, is now only 5 seconds, less than that, in fact, behind Jerome Blake and Moreland for 4th and 5th. 99, 15, 33, 21, 64, and 12. All in with a shout here. There's 40 seconds. No, check that. That's a little bit more than that. There is 43 seconds between first and second. And then from then on, everyone else on the lead lap, down to Trent Hinman. A coffer splutter, a mistake, and this could all change in the last 8 minutes. Live from trackside, you're listening to IMSA Radio. Shea Adam is our Continental Tire pit lane reporter. Jeremy Shaw and me, John Hindhaugh. Still don't really know who's going to be in the positions. In ST, Spencer Pumpelly's lead is now 10 seconds to Matt Pombo in the 73 Mini from Cameron Lawrence, still just 0.6 of a second behind in 3rd position, then 2 seconds back to Ryan Eversley, who's driven the second of the Hondas back to 4th position. Both of those Hondas, the 92 and the 93, have been right to the back of the field and are now back into 3rd and 4th. Shea Adam, down at the Aston Martin pit, what's the news?
The international symbol of it's going to be really close. They aren't 100% sure either way if they'll make it or they won't, but they're going to leave him out.
They're going to leave him out and roll the dice. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, you know, they did this, the team did this at VIR, I think it was last year, when on that occasion they would definitely have had enough time to come in, make a stop, get out and retain the lead. Now, by cruising around here trying to save fuel, that blows that strategy.
Exactly. So they've now said we're leaving him out. That was my point. That was my point. Do you trust the guys to turn the car around and put a little bit of a splash of fuel in? Probably a bit less than what Billy needed. The splash.
You could have done.
You could have done. And that's the question you had to make. Right there and then. Now, 39 seconds. So they've lost 5 seconds in the last couple of laps.
Right. So they're committed now to trying to stretch this fuel load.
Billy Johnson's now picked up his pace. Mark Miller is 4 seconds behind him. That battle for second is not over yet. That is not over at all. Both of those guys are fueled to the end of the race. Oh, I'm hearing from the pit lane now they've changed their mind. They're going to bring the Aston in. And I think that's 2 laps too late, if I'm honest, Shea.
They've just picked up the fuel rig. They're checking to make sure that it is good to go. And all the crew guys are getting helmets ready. They think they have enough of a gap that if they bring him in now, they can put him out just in front of Johnson. But as I just said to my colleague Justin Bell, what's the point? If you're not going for championship points, go for the win.
Yeah, but the problem is they were 5 seconds slower than Billy Johnson last time around, and 4 seconds before that. They've given up the better part of 10 seconds in 2 laps. That's 10 seconds that if they'd pitted them 2 laps ago would have given them a little more of a cushion. It's now going to be very, very close indeed at just 38 seconds back from first to second. And what they've got to do is tell Charge to push, push, push now on his in-lap. I might even be tempted to leave him out 1 more lap and tell him to go hard.
No, once you've committed
hang on a second.
Bring him in now, but that's a shame because I feel 35 seconds. I don't think they can do it. Come in and make a splash and go. If they come in at the same time as
they had 47 seconds.
As they come in at the same time as the Shelby, then they were maybe 2 seconds behind him. They would need a lot less fuel.
Correct.
They'd have come out at worst right with him.
Yes, agreed. But now they've given up something like 10 or 12 seconds of track time. Unless they're just ready in case. That's the only thing that I can think. 99 car then, with Charles Esplanade at the wheel. Does he come in this time? We're holding our breath as he comes through the final corner, right-handed onto the start-finish straight. He's going towards the middle of the road, but he's going through for another lap. He's going through for another lap. Last lap time was a 2:30.9. He needs to, if he's going to stay out, he's only got 4 minutes to go. Come on. It's 2 laps, 2:33.6. They're leaving him out. He's stroking this home.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the right thing to do.
Charles has, I think, between him and the team, they've got to do that. They can't win it if they stop now. They might win it if they can get Charles to put his slipper on.
As long as if he can get up the hill to finish that last lap, he should win the race.
Put your slippers on, Charles. Coasting down the hill, knocking it out of gear. Turn the engine off if you have to. Seen that done before. High-risk strategy if it doesn't fire, mind you. Billy Johnson crosses the line now, and the gap between first and second, which was 47 seconds 3 laps ago, is now 30 seconds. 5 seconds between second and third. Mark Miller unable to close the gap down. Billy Johnson smells blood, you know. He's going to push. I can't imagine he can make 30 seconds up in a couple of laps. 2 minutes 59 to go. There will be 1 more lap after this. Correct. No doubt. He can't drive slow enough to get the checkered flag out without Billy Johnson catching him.
Correct. And 2 other interesting notes here, by the way. In ST, the 2 Hondas came across here. Number 93 car with Ryan Eversley at the wheels, close right up on Cameron Lawrence, and it's probably made the pass by now. I would think heading towards turn 1. Also, the battle for 4th and 5th, because Guy Cosmo's caught right up with Jerome Blakemole.
That's a great drive by Cosmo.
Yes.
First time back in the series for a very long time. First time in that car, and he has been sparkling, nothing less than sparkling for Guy Cosmore. Jerome Blinkenmolen knows how to pedal that Porsche, and Guy Cosmore in the similar car, the 21 and 64 we're talking about, in 4th and 5th.
Charles Espelon, 2:33.6 last time around. That's about that's almost 10 seconds slower than he can do in that car. So he's doing absolutely everything he can. You know, they're committed to it now. They're committed to this strategy. They've just got a whole hope that they've got their numbers right and they can do one more lap.
It will be one more lap. 1:49. Yeah, it's one more lap from now. Right, at this point now, there's no point in going very, very slow. He's down to 26 seconds. Build the momentum up. Make sure you get up the hill. But he can't fail to have to do another lap. There's 4 miles when he crosses the line in front of us. Through the final corner. He's come to the pits! I don't believe it! He's come to the pits! He's given up the lead with 1 minute 20 to go, and he can't get out in front of Billy Johnson. He's handing first position to the Ford. He's handing second position to Mark Miller, and Jerome Blinkenmolen and Guy Cosmore are battling for 3rd position. Adam.
White flag is being displayed on the starter stand, but it's not to the car that was leading when the lap began. The 99 pulls to a stop. They should have officially seen the white flag as the leaders because they crossed the start-finish line. That's all the fuel it took. That was 2 seconds worth of fuel for a lap. They have already seen the 15 and the 33 go past, but the 99 is all the way back.
No, they haven't, Shea, because the 33 is back in the pit lane. Mark Miller has given up a podium finish. Mark Miller has dropped down to 5th, so it's going to be Johnson and Blinkenmolen and Cosmore, but in which order? Esplanade is back out. Can he chase down the 2 Porsches? Billy Johnson has come through as a Honda in as well. Cameron Lawrence is in the pit lane from 2nd in ST. Once again, the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge plays an absolute havoc with everybody's blood pressure in the press room. And I take it that was just a splash for Cameron Lawrence as well, Shea.
33 got a splash and dash. Cameron Lawrence, splash and dash.
Unforgivable to not get the right amount of fuel on the splashes.
They pitted when they had to pit. I mean, they just didn't have quite enough to get to the end. There wasn't much they could do about it. That's a completely different story, however, for the 99 car, I have to say, because they had plenty of opportunity to come and look at this battle, go up the hill to turn 6 for what is now 2nd place.
Jerome Blinkenmolen and Guy Cosmore are battling for 2nd position. They're 7. Oh, wait a minute, the Ford's slowing. The Ford is slowing a little bit. Don't tell me they've got it wrong as well. He's in the carousel. He's not leaning on that car at all. And Blinkenmolen and Cosmore are together at turn 8.
The 09 car.
09 is out of fuel on the front straight. Al Carter. Oh, it's all gone mad. Once again, Road America delivering fantastic entertainment. We're well past the 2.5-hour mark now. Billy Johnson is super slow in the middle sector, 62 seconds. And it was 64 seconds when Charles Esplanade was trying to save fuel. Are Jerome Blinkenmolen and Guy Cosmore now battling for the lead? Will Billy Johnson get up the hill? Has everyone mistimed their fuel flow? Remember, the Mark Miller car had to come in for another splash. They got it wrong. Cosmore round the outside. Where is the Ford? I can't see it yet. I can't see it yet. I don't believe it. We've had this before here. He's puttering up the hill. He's going to make it, but it's going to be just. He's on fumes. Comes to the line now. He wasn't even in 4th gear. And Billy Johnson wins it. But only just. I bet he doesn't get another lap out of that. Jerome Blinkenmolen, where are the battling Porsches? Here they are. Guy Cosmore goes to the right-hand side, tries to go through, but the nose to tail as they come past the line. And Cosmore gets 2nd. No, Cosmore 3rd by 0.079 of a second. Jerome Blinkenmolen holds on. What a great comeback to the series for Guy Cosmore. Charles Esplanade goes through in 4th position. Spencer Pumpelly, by the way, went through in the middle of that and breaks his bad luck run here by 10 seconds from Eversley in the first of the Hondas. Eric Foss, the 56 car, in 3rd position in ST. Let's go down to Shea Adam with Nick Galante.
He said they'll take it. This time Spencer made it up the hill. How nervous was he on the radio that last lap through?
Well, we were showing the same numbers as last year of what we had left in the tank, so it was exactly the same number of fuel remaining as last year, and we had our fingers crossed, and luckily we got our numbers right and it paid off, and we weren't going to make the same mistake twice.
It worked out for you guys. Points leaders coming in, points leaders going back out. A win is the best way to do it. And what does it mean to get one at Road America?
I've always, admired this track, and this is really so bittersweet, and it's really special to be out here and especially win here. It's awesome. Awesome.
Congrats and good luck at VIR in a few weeks.
Thank you. Looking forward to it. I can't thank my sponsors enough. Justin Bellazzoni at Team RS1, Logistics, our main sponsor, and of course Hot Shoes Spencer Pumpelly. Awesome job. Scott Best actually pulled us off with this pit stop strategy. Amazing work.
Team effort down here.
As always, shit. Well, anyone down at turn 5 was getting a double dose of Continental Tire smoke from Donuts with Spencer Pumpelly, and huge burnout and drifts from Billy Johnson. He had slightly more fuel than I think he might have thought. He doesn't care now if he runs out. But that was a little too close for comfort. 13.5 seconds at the line, Jeremy. Drifting all the way through the carousel. Has he got it? Yes, he has. All the way through the carousel. We salute you, Billy Johnson, and Scott Maxwell is part of another winning team.
Scott Maxwell, it's 2 races in a row now that you guys go from pole to checkered flag. You're sweating now. I don't think that's from the car. I think that was from nerves, wasn't it?
No, my part of today was way easier than the last hour and a half. Wow, that was way too tense. I feel first of all, I feel terrible for the Aston guys. David and his team and Charles and Charlie, they really deserved that one. I've never not wanted to win one, and I was hoping they could pull it off today, but we'll take it. Ford Performance Multimatic Mustang, we call it perfect strategy just on fuel. Again, we're not the quickest car, but just a lot of smart people up there, and we pulled it off.
Just how close on fuel were you guys?
We're not really even sure. Close enough. Billy was weaving on the last lap. I don't know if he was just, screwing me around there to do that, but he drove a brilliant race, saved the brakes, saved the tires, and we had just enough at the end.
Probably more champagne in the bottle you're about to get than there was fuel in the tank. Congrats, though.
I think so. Thank you very much.
Very classy as well from Scott Maxwell, paying tribute to the 99 Automatic Racing Aston Martin team of Charles Putman and Charles Esplanade. 1 lap short on fuel.
Yeah, I really feel for those guys. They're just a great group of people there at Automatic Racing. David Russell and the rest of that team. This is another one that got away, though, I'm afraid, guys. But still, it was a magnificent performance. They gave us a great show. 121st start this has been for Charles Esplanade in this series. He's had 3 wins in the past. The last one, though, was way back in 2010 at Watkins Glen. So it's been a while for Charles. And Charlie's won a race before as well, Charlie, but one of these races. But it was a perfect performance. It wasn't a perfect performance actually today by the number 15 crew from Ultimate Motorsports. Coming to the pit stops a little bit slower than usual, but all the strategy was exactly right. Billy was just playing with us there on that final lap, in my opinion. He was just making sure he kept us on our toes. But it was a great performance by Billy and by Scott Maxwell the first part of this race. There's 2 or 3 teams here that threw away potential opportunities, but once again it's a Multimatic Motorsports that comes away with the victory and extend their championship lead.
And extends it by a decent margin, because the second splash for CJ Wilson Racing, and that really was an error at the end there, robbed Mark Miller of what would have been second position, drops all the way down to 6th. And that has cost them valuable championship points. They weren't going to close on, or it looked like they weren't going to close on Billy Johnson, although if they'd had a bit more fuel, maybe Mark could have pushed harder. Mark Miller.
Yeah, maybe he'd have pushed Billy. I mean, it was about 5 seconds behind him.
It was 3 when they came out of the pits, and it was about 5 when they came out, but by then he might have been saving fuel, as you said, for the situation, Jeremy. So, I mean, ST, by the way, Spencer Pumpelly, brilliant tactics. Ryan Eversley drove from, well, the 93 and the 92 drove from the back. 93 in second, and the 56 of Eric Voss and Jeff Mosing in third.
Because number 73 car, after that brilliant run by the Mini JCW team, unfortunately on the last lap Matt Pombo there pretty much out of gas. He fell all the way down to 7th place in the class, having run 2nd until that final lap.
And the 92 as well. Cameron Lewis having to make that. Cameron Lawrence rather having to make the splash and go right at the end, a lap or so, 2 laps from the end as well.
But those weren't down. That wasn't really down to strategy. They just really didn't have much choice about that. You know, they made their pit stops when they could. When the opportunity came, and they were just trying to get it to the end from there. They just needed probably one more lap of yellow would have done it for them.
Billy Johnson,
same come to think of it, for the Aston Martin.
Billy Johnson just coming out of the car. Let's have a quick word with Spencer Pumpelly. A brilliant victory and lays to rest the ghosts of this place, Shea.
Yeah, Spencer, you had enough this time. Was it the fuel in your drinks bottle, like I suggested, that helped you get up the hill at the end there?
You know, actually, it was a really good strategy for my guys in the pit wall. You know, we got hit. I haven't seen the replay yet, but something happened, knocked Nick off the road and put us to the back. We got that first yellow. We were back there, so we figured might as well bring the car down, do the change. We just got inside the minimum 45 minutes, so yeah, we did it, and that gave us a really quick pit stop the second time, put us up in the front, got by a couple of cars, and that was pretty much just, this car was so hooked up today, it was unbelievable. It was easy to drive, you know, it just drove away, and it was a testament to the guys at RS1 and Continental.
And at the end, it was Team ATL again that was the front two, you and Ryan Eversley again. You guys like battling each other.
Well, so I don't know anything about this. No one, Eversley?
Eversley was 2.
Nice, and who was 3rd?
Foss.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's cool. We got to get a picture of this. Those guys are good buddies. So
you're going to have a good party tonight.
Oh, yeah, well, tomorrow night I got to race somewhere. I got to qualify in 20 minutes here, so.
Thank you, Shea. Shea Adam down in the Continental Tire pit lane for us in this, again, brilliant event here at Road America. Eric Voss there coming in the 3rd position in ST, as we mentioned. Jeremy Shaw was alongside me. Thank you very much for being with us. We'll cover the rest of the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge throughout the season. It's all live here on IMSA Radio.
This program is a production of IMSA and Radio Show Limited. For more, visit radiolemans.com.
Yes! Oh, yes! IMSA Radio, your route to American sports car racing.
Hello everybody and welcome along to an exclusive IMSA radio programme. Round about now, Scott Atherton is standing up at Road America